What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
All right. What is it? Friday night? Must be the Friday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing out there? Looks like we got Izzy, Trudeau, Spambot. We got Canuck already in the chat. Good to see you guys. All right. Well, let's go to the menu. Let's see what we're going to be talking about tonight very quickly. Go back to the chat, talk to everybody there, and then we'll dig into the stories in detail. First off, is Trump gonna get China? China. What am I saying? China. Is Trump gonna get Cuba? I tell you who's not happy about it. Greta Thunberg. How dare you? How dare you? She's saying to Trump. How dare he? I tell you what, this Greta, she doesn't get any less children of the corn, does she? Just year after year now. She's been around a while. Still 100% children of the corn. So we'll talk about that. Let's see. We're going to talk about the SAVE Act, which is really, a historic thing. If they want to really preserve and restore the United States, they need to pass that. They need to get the voting thing under control. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about AI. Here's a lady who is in love with her AI, her Irish AI guy. So we'll be listening to her and how crazy she is and how much, and find out and learn how much AI is going to ruin everything for everybody before it finally terminates us all. Let's see, Alberta independence. Got a couple things on here. There's something quite funny, actually. I think you guys will quite enjoy. A couple of things that are quite funny, actually. We're going to go to, what do we have going on here? Hold on. Oh, yeah. So, a ship was sunk in the Strait of Hormuz. It turns out it was carrying food for Canadian food banks. So, yeah, not going great in Canada. Not going great. I mean, it's at this point, it's just surreal. Is this some sort of weird dream? Am I in an alternate dimension? I don't know. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, let's see. We've got Canada land claims. So here is an Indigenous person who drops some truth bombs about the Chiefs and what's going on and all the politics surrounding everything, which I think you might find interesting. We've got Canada crime. Canada crime. Well, if it's Canada, it's going badly. So we'll talk about that. Here's Pierre Poilievre pointing out another case of total and utter insanity. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? Mark Carney. It's depressing talking about Mark Carney, to be honest. But we're going to talk about Mark Carney. We're going to talk about the terrible jobs numbers that have come in. Here's Pierre Poilievre making note of it. Lost 84,000 jobs in February. Mark Carney's excuse is not very good, actually. And I don't know what people expected. We are going to go to gender ideology, and we're going to listen to the testimony of another detransitioner. And it's important for people to see this stuff because this is the stuff that it will never get on CNN. It will never get on MS Now. It'll never get on NBC News or ABC News or CBS News. It'll never be on the CBC or Global or CTV News. It'll never be on the BBC or Sky News. These are the only places like this, we're at right now, are the only places you will ever actually hear these stories. Otherwise, they don't exist. We'll take a look at that. Take a look at the UK. So it turns out that 94% of all terror murders in the UK are committed by Muslims. Really? Who would have ever guessed that? What a shock. What a shock that is. I had no idea. No idea. Whoa. Let's say woke mind virus. Oh, so what's going on here? Is this a journalist here who is trying to, I guess, kind of entrap this young Doge guy, Doge bro, this very base Doge bro. And he's just super based. They all are. All of the Doge guys are super based. Elon Musk says legendarily based. I love it. Let's see what's going on with Woke Canada. Oh dear. I had one thing I wanted to read to you from Tristan Hopper here, which I just think sums up the country very well. And then we've got the last tab of the evening, which is a bunch of stuff that a lot of stuff that you guys have sent in, audience participation time. There's lots of fun stuff, palate cleanser stuff with animals and stuff and gross stuff and comedy and all kinds of fun stuff. So this is how we like to end off the show. After all that horrifying news, we like to come here and just have some fun. Just chill. Just chill. All right. Listen up, everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, what you need to do is go to my second channel. It's about 6 months old now, Radio Baloney News. Go there. This is where all the world news, the U.S. news, the UK news, the woke mind virus stuff, the meme reviews. Look at this meme review right here. Look at this. Just put this one out. International Women's Day and other memes. Wow, that's fun. Go here and subscribe to this. It's the only place where you can get these videos now. I'm even starting to move some of the Canadian news over to here now. So the channel you're watching right now is for live streams, Canadian news right now. But I'm even starting to move some of the Canadian stuff to Radio Baloney News. Please go there, subscribe. It helps everybody out and makes the world a better place. All right. Oh. So in case you're wondering, I am feeling better. A lot better. Not 100%. I'm at like 80%, but that's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, everybody. As everybody knows, we are live right now on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, and on Locals. And of course, when you subscribe to the channel, become a channel member, you get free good karma. Obviously, you go crazy and send me money, free good karma for that, obviously. But listen, the easiest way is just to simply like the stream. Just like the stream, people. You get free good karma that way. And when you're early, you get extra. Let's see what's going on. Izzy got the first like over on Rumble here. So that's 6 good karmas. Boom. Just like that. That easy. Seriously. Judo Survivor, 2. So that's 5 good karmas. Boom. That easy. Let's see. Spambots number 3. That's 4 good karmas, my friend. Canuck Stick Stringer 4. That's 3 good karmas, my friend. Rosie is, I don't know what that is. Let's just give her 4 good karmas as well. Try to confuse me. The Iron Lady's trying to confuse me. All right. So let's do some chat, shall we? And then we'll get dug into our stories after. Let's see. I want to say hi to Brian and Eves over on YouTube there. Good to see you guys. All right. Let's see. All right, let me get dug into the chat here. Let's see. Where are we? Is there anything you guys are saying that are interesting? Rosie says, "Hey Richie, you sound well now." I'm so much better today. So much better today. I was really annoying Princess Baloney today because I was feeling better, and she said she preferred it when I was sick. So I'm like that though. I'm awful, awful. Let's see. Person turquoise waving from Eve's Smart. All right. Canuck Six Trigger says Doge dude gets extra marks. These guys, they're all hilarious and awesome. Those guys, they're all based. Got these young guys that are super based. He found those based people. They're also all like geniuses as well. Let's see. Brian Watson, Bill C9 is brutal. Well, they did make some amendments. So they removed the part about not needing the attorney general okay on it, which is actually a big deal. And they also removed what did they remove? They removed the needing the they added in that you still need the attorney general approval, but and they also got rid of the new definition of hate, which from a Supreme Court decision. It's not actually in like the Constitution or anything, but from I think 2000 something Supreme Court case, they said vilification and disgust or so. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But anyway, they changed that so it's not as bad. It's still bad. The standard is still totally vague, ridiculously vague and subjective. But it's not as bad at least. But they do have, but it still has there's no exception for religion in it. So yeah, if you go out in public and read Leviticus, yeah, you can be like thrown in prison. So that's really, really bad, right? Really, really bad. It's supposed to apply to all religions, all religious texts, but we know that's not going to be the case. It will be used arbitrarily. Arbitrarily. Hold on, let me just pull up the definition of hate as it stands right now. Of hate. Hatred in. Hold on. The law. It's I've taken a total blank on it. It was like vilification. Okay, yes, here we go. So in Canadian law, hatred refers to. I mean, how do you make emotions illegal? By the way, it's the most insane thing. It's so Orwellian. Emotions of an intense and extreme nature, such as detestation or vilification, that go beyond mere dislike, disdain, or offense. It's so insanely subjective. And again, criminalizing emotions, this is just beyond Orwellian to me. In any case, let's get back to the chat. Let's see. But yes, once they pass that law, you can go to prison for reading Leviticus. The wrong part of it, I guess. Six Stringer says, referring to the sanding channel that we're watching right now, I think I require carpentry instruction from the nice lady. Yep, definitely could use some tutorials. Yeah, let's see. Izzy's too hungry to cook. Too hungry to cook. Well, you better get yourself some hamburgers. And let's see. Judo Survivor says, I don't understand why she needs to use a vice. She has perfectly good teeth. Well, that's such a great point there. Let's see. Canuck Six Stringer says, no teeth when woodworking. I'm not reading any more of this. All right. Rosie says, was Mr. Snacks nice to you while you were being a bad patient? Mostly ignored me. Came in to check on me occasionally. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, apparently the son of that Nunavut MP who crossed the aisle over to the Liberals is up on charges related to children. Yep. Yep. Well, we covered that in the last stream. Let's see. Rosie says, okay, Richie, every stream I'm going to be providing at least one stealthy way for you to escape. Okay. All right. Izzy says, definition of hate is anything the government doesn't want you to say. Yes, definition of hate is just whatever the government hates. Trudeau Survivor was gifted a membership by Rosie. What the heck? Good Lord. Well, everybody knows what this means. Everybody knows what this means. Let's do it right now. Best person ever. So when people do wonderful things like sending me money or gifting memberships to the channel, that makes them automatically, just because of what they've done. I mean, it's this important. It makes them automatically the best person in all of history, the best person who's ever lived or probably ever will live. So Rosie's done that. And Trudeau Survivor is the proud recipient of that gift. So again, you may have your heroes. I don't begrudge you that. I'm sure they're awesome. I'm just saying, compared to Rosie, all dog shit. Best person ever. Seriously, it's the best thing anybody can do for this channel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So let's get to it. Cuba. What the hell's going on in Cuba? Let's see. What do we have here? So from Kaneko the Great here. Now, this is from March 5th. This is from March 5th. It says Trump tells Cuban Inter-Miami co-owner Jose Mas he'll soon be able to fly back to Cuba. So this is a part of the, Neo-Monroe Doctrine, or the Don Roe Doctrine, as some are saying, of the United States telling the world that the Western Hemisphere is their turf. It's Trump's turf. It's the United States turf. And you can butt out. So we've seen already a very effective move with Venezuela. We've seen China kicked out of the Panama Canal. And of course, Cuba is a friend to all of the United States enemies. So that's the next move. And apparently, Cuba confirms talks with U.S. officials. Could a historic deal be next? Well, let's take a look at this article. Actually, let's make this smaller. Okay, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel on March 13th confirmed his government is holding talks with the Trump administration in the latest sign that the communist-run nation is open to signing a possible historic economic deal with the United States. Diaz-Canel made the announcement in a video broadcast on national television and also spoke in a subsequent press conference where he addressed Cuba's energy needs amid a U.S. oil blockade, saying no fuel has entered Cuba in 3 months. He said talks with the U.S. have reached initial phases only. These conversations have been aimed at seeking solutions through dialogue to the bilateral differences that exist between our two nations, he said. So there's a lot of talk about Trump just taking over Cuba, and he's kind of added to that. Here, let's listen to this. Now, he's not going to take over Cuba. I think you might see something that is just more diplomatic. I think you're going to see just concessions, removing sanctions, that sort of thing, in return for loyalty to the White House. I think that's where this is going, if it's going anywhere at all.
Congratulations as well to co-owners Jorge and Jose Mas, who came from Cuba, right? Originally from Cuba. Huh? Your parents came, and you're going to go back. Oh yeah. It's going to be, and you won't need my approval. You just fly back in when I can just see that. It's going to be a great day, right? We're going to celebrate that separately. I just want to wait a couple of weeks.
I just want to wait a couple of weeks. So he feels that things are moving fast. How about this here? So Trump's in talks of negotiating with Cuba. Let's take a look here. So here's Havana. Let's take a look from Fox News.
The U.S. has imposed an oil blockade. Cuba recently lost support from Venezuela, and Mexico has also stopped sending them oil. Trump says Cuba was in its last moments of life.
Cuba's at the end of the line. They're very much at the end of the line. They have no money. They have no oil. They have a bad philosophy. They have a bad regime that's been bad for a long time.
The Castro family.
And this is the thing. It is just a bad, communism is just bad. Lefties are always, ranting hysterically about sanctions and embargoes and stuff. Look, it was never going to be good. Where is the country where it's good? Right? There's North Korea exists right now. Every year, 100,000 people at least starve to death. Right? There is no good example. There's nowhere you can point and say, well, if it hadn't been for the U.S., it would have been a paradise like this place that doesn't exist.
As you know, John still has major influence on the island. They handpicked Diaz-Canel as president. Recently, there's been reports that Marco Rubio held secret talks with the grandson of the former Cuban leader, Raul Castro, last month in the Caribbean. And by the way, Still off to the side here as their pressure mounts on Cuban leaders. The Justice Department is weighing criminal charges tied to drugs and immigration against these Cuban leaders, just adding more pressure for them to come to a deal, potentially. John.
Is there any chatter you're picking up on how it might go if there were to be a change in government in Cuba? Would it be like Venezuela, where you have somebody who's maybe more willing to work with the United States, but still in the same leadership structure? Or could you just completely sweep away the autocracy there, the authoritarian government, and immediately go to democracy?
Well, I think according to the president in his past statements, he would prefer to not do a total regime change. He is always looking for someone that's already in the power structure, like he did with Venezuela. He often talks about how successful Delcy Rodriguez has been for him. He obviously wanted that in Iran. It hasn't happened yet. So I would think that that's where his thinking is at with Cuba as well. We'll see. It's the U.S.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the regime there now has not forgotten about Maduro. I'm pretty sure the regime there has not forgotten about Maduro, right? So that's probably weighing on them a little bit as well. There's probably behind the scenes talks going on with officials or important officials in Cuba that behind the regime's back, quite possibly. I'm sure that is what happened in Venezuela as well. So, that is Trump has proven that he can just pluck a leader out of the country and stick him in an American jail. So, that exists now. Let's see. How about this? So here is Trump on why Cuba's days are numbered from Mario Nawfal. Let's take a look.
To Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What would the United States get in return for that? And why should Americans trust Marco Rubio to negotiate it?
Well, Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels. Very important. Those people are very important to me. I know what they went through. They went through hell. Some of them have gone on to be some of the most successful people in the country. Cuban-American business people, some of them are like the most successful in the country. And a lot of them are friends of mine because I've been fighting this battle with them for a long time. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. Sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. They lived without Venezuela. They couldn't have made it. And we cut them off from everything else. So, they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Yeah.
So, I think the way Trump likes to do it is no muss, no fuss, right? I mean, I understand what's happening in Iran right now is a lot of muss and fuss, but we don't know how that's going to end up. I think that we've seen, at least in the Western Hemisphere, Trump wants it to be clean. He wants it to be a clean deal. Of course, guess who? From Base Bandita here. Guess who? It's Greta Thunberg. She's back. She's back. So first she was saving the environment, and then she was going to crush capitalism. And then she was going to, I guess, crush Israel as well. And now she's very concerned that communism may leave Cuba because she's a commie. And she doesn't get any less children of the corn, does she, as she gets older? Just no less children of the corn, and commie corn at that. Very commie corn. Let's hear what well, I don't know. What did Norm say about it?
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Yeah, I think it's going to sound like that. Let's take a look.
We need to talk about what's happening in Cuba, right?
Do we really know? Do we really need to talk, though? Haven't we talked enough? Haven't you talked enough? All right, go on then. Can see a need to get it out.
Now, as the Trump administration is waging illegitimate wars across the world, killing countless of people, it is also strangling the Cuban people, deliberately, methodically.
It's, you know what? It's been strangling the Cuban people. Communism, the thing that you love. Oh, God damn it. Hold on.
As the Trump administration's humanitarian crisis, intensive care units don't know anything. He said it like it was something to be proud of, while the Cuban people, deliberately, methodically, and openly. The pedophile Trump himself bragged.
Oh, there she goes. The P word there. The P word there. You know, Greta, I think you got into the wrong business. Right? How much longer can this last, by the way? How much longer? She's just gone full on. Call me TDS. How much longer can this go on? I mean, how much longer is there a market for this? How much longer will people give money for this? Right? Because at a certain point, it's counterproductive. All right. At a certain point, your marketing campaign, and that's all that she is. She's just a human marketing campaign for communism. At some point, that marketing campaign pushes more people away than it brings in. But let's continue.
About it, saying there's an embargo, there's no oil, there's no money, there's no anything. He said it like it was something to be proud of, while millions of people have been plunged into darkness by rolling blackouts, while hospitals lose.
They've been in darkness for decades, because they've been having to live under communism. Children of the Corn girl.
Power, while ambulances run out of fuel, while shelves go empty. The United Nations has warned of imminent humanitarian.
But the shelves were always empty, by the way, always.
In crisis, intensive care units and emergency rooms are compromised. Newborns, the elderly, the sick, all paying the price. This is not an accident or an unfortunate side effect of some policy disagreement. This is the intended outcome.
It's the intended outcome of communism. You retard. You Swedish retard.
1962, the US embargo has been designed, in the words of the US State Department itself, to bring about hunger, desperation, and overthrow the government. Now the Trump administration is escalating it further, plotting what they themselves have called a takeover of the island. We cannot be silent about this. Cuba did not stay silent when the world needed it. For over 60 years, Cuba sent its doctors to all corners of the earth. Cuban medical workers fought Ebola in West Africa. They responded to disasters in Haiti. They trained generations of doctors from all over the world.
Yeah, and they also horribly repressed their own people. It's a dictatorship, impoverished the entire island. By the way, were you aware that Castro's son is like sailing around the world on a yacht with the billions of dollars that were stolen from those people? These are leftism is just first order thinking, right? None of these people can see past their own shadow. None of them could ever ask, what's next? Well, what then? What then? Oh, we'll just share everything. Everybody will just share everything, and that'll work out great. And no wealthy people. They're incapable of asking, yeah, but what then, actually? Once you've taken all the money from the wealthy people, well, what then? How do you get more? Greta doesn't care. Because her brain is made out of birdseed. She doesn't care. I don't know. Look, if I had unlimited money, I would make a TV series of Children of the Corn, and I would star her in it. And it would be a warning about communism. That would be the entire purpose of it. But I would tell her it was pro-communism, so she'd have no idea and she'd be super excited. And it would be a comedy, obviously. And all the other characters in it would have Down syndrome. And but their characters would all be like hardcore, like laissez-faire capitalists. So then she'd have to be mad at them. Anyway, it would be hilarious. I think we can all agree. Anyway, So there you go. Yeah, so maybe what can happen here is that the Cuban people can be saved from their oppressors, their actual oppressors. Maybe they can be saved from communism, and maybe they can have the freedom, the economic and the personal freedom to finally flourish and reach their potential. Of course, nothing would make Greta Thunberg sadder. All right. Let's go back to the chat. Something else wonderful has happened. Hold on. Something else wonderful has happened. I think. Did something else happen? There we go. Yes. Spambot. Spambot has done the most beautiful thing that any person can ever do. He has gifted a subscription to this channel on Rumble. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to do. What a good man. Anyway, I think everybody knows where this is going. Clearly, Spambot Fodder is the best person ever. I know you people have your heroes, the people that you admire, Einstein, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, Einstein's great. But guess what? Sorry, spoiler alert. Spambot is awesome and way better. And in comparison, Einstein, great as he was, human garbage by comparison. Spambot, you are the best person ever. What a wonderful evening this is turning into with people, all these people buying memberships for the channel, gifting memberships for the channel on Rumble. What a beautiful evening this is. I had no idea when I woke up this morning it would be this good. All right, let's get back to the chat. Let's see. Seriously, it's the best thing anybody can do for the channel. Everybody subscribe, get your free good karma, like the stream right now. You know what to do. Rosie says that communism is only bad for about 50 years. Then it falls apart and gets worse. And she's right. And she's right. It never gets better. Like the perfect end state is North Korea, which exists right now. That's the standard. That's the gold standard of communism. Let's see. And Dramus was gifted that membership by Spambot. So Dramus is a very, very lucky person indeed. Let's see. JJ Nevada says stinking commie. Talking about Greta Commieberg. Is that what we're calling her now? Greta Commieberg? I've never said that before. That's the first time that name is left my mouth. And it's a beautiful one. Greta Commieberg. Commieberg. I love it. Let's see. Rosie says, just wondering, has she lost her baby teeth yet? I don't know. I mean, she could be 7. She could be 37. No idea. Let's see. Tuno Survivor says, I'm waiting for Greta to announce she's getting married to Dylan Mulvaney. Too late. She already married a tree. Let's see. Bad Uncle Frank, how you doing? She looks to be a couple of chromosomes short, Uncle Frank says. Checks out. Let's see. As he says, a grim comedy. Children of the commie corn. Nevada says, makes a great, really salient point here. Just another retarded commie. Very well. Let's see. As he says, best person ever to both Rosie and Spambot. Truly wonderful people. They're the best amongst us. I've always said that. All right. Now what the hell are we doing? Are we going here? So the SAVE Act. So the SAVE Act is legislation requiring voter ID to vote, to identify yourself as being able to legally vote. Yeah, it seems like a kind of a no-brainer. It's what every other country does. But in the States, I guess with the left, it's very controversial. So it's already passed the House. It's in the Senate now. The problem is that in order to just have like a simple majority vote, they would have to get rid of the filibuster. You've got The Senate Majority Leader Thune, who's a Republican, doesn't want to do that. Everybody else wants him to do that. Otherwise, they would have to get 60 votes, which they won't get. And this legislation is really kind of crucial to dismantling the Democrats', I guess, vote manufacturing machine, I guess you could say. And yeah, so it does seem to be really crucially important that they do this as soon as possible before the midterms. Here's JD Vance. So JD Vance, and he posted this himself on the 13th, which is today.
If you know anything about this legislation, what the Save America Act does is that it makes it impossible for illegal aliens to vote in our elections. Pretty common sense. Now, I think that's pretty easy, right? We don't want illegal aliens voting in our elections. My favorite thing is whenever I bring this up, you'll have some Democrat on TV who will say, well, we don't have to worry about that because illegal immigrants voting in our elections is very rare. Well, number one, how about we put it to 0, okay? Even if you're right. Number two, you're not right. It happens way more often than a lot of people appreciate. In fact, just this week, ICE arrested an illegal immigrant. I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it right. An illegal immigrant from Mauritania who's voted in 7 federal elections since 2008. And I haven't got good authority that in every single election he voted for Don Davis. No, I don't know about that. I don't know where he voted, but I guarantee it wasn't for us. Okay, it wasn't for America First policies. Now, here's the thing, though. Even if you take the Democrats at their word, even if illegal aliens voting is very rare, then why don't we ban it anyway? It's not that complicated. It is one thing to say, I don't get it. The Democrats say, this never happens, or it happens only very rarely on the one hand, and on the other hand, we must not stop it. It doesn't make a damn bit of sense. We need to get all illegal aliens stopping from voting in our elections. It's very common sense stuff.
Almost makes you think it's not so rare. And they know it, and they're counting on it being not rare. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Here's Trump talking about it from the 12th. Let's take a look.
That in the Save America Act as one of our 5. That's voter ID. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship. We want no transgender mutilization of your children. We don't want transgender mutilation. That's number 3. We want no men in women's sports. That's number 4. And we don't want to have mail-in voting where the votes go. Where the hell do they come from? So we do that. It's 5 things. They're all 99%. They say, oh, that's an 80% issue, like voter ID. No, I think it's a 99. I think the Democrats have it at 87%. The leadership doesn't want it. Why don't you want voter ID? There's only one reason. Ready? Because you want to cheat. Okay? They blame it on all sorts of things. They said it's racist. They came up with things that you have to say their imagination is great. No, we're not going to let them cheat like they did in a certain election that we won't talk about. But that election was, and they cheat now. Look, we're not going to let it happen. So we're going to go get the Save America Act, not the Save Act. Nobody knew what the Save Act meant. The Save Act, what save what? Save America Act. And we're going to do everything we can. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe we're having a hard time. I think anybody that votes against it shouldn't be allowed to run for office. You want to know that.
And the crazy thing is that, I guess if you're watching like CNN or NBC News or something, MS Now, is that you wouldn't realize that this is totally normal in every other country. In fact, if you tried to remove the requirement to prove that you can legally vote in Canada, if you tried to do that, people would think that you were nuts. Like that would not be a winning issue politically, right? Same across Europe. Like, no, this is clearly there's a reason why Democrats want to have insecure elections, and it couldn't really be much more obvious, could it? Why? I mean, there's literally no other reason. Here's from Scott Pressler, The Persistence. Let's hear what he has to say here. Hold on.
I want to clear up any confusion. The Save America Act would employ the SAVE system, which stands for the Systematic Alien Verification for Entitlements. Let me be clear. No registered voter that is currently registered to vote, Martha, will have to re-register to vote. What will happen under the SAVE system is any lawful legal voter will have their American Social Security number go through the SAVE system. And so long as they are lawful, so long as they are a legal American citizen, they will be able to stay on the voter rolls. And so when Senator Chuck Schumer says that tens of millions of Americans will be removed from the voter rolls, did he say the quiet part out loud? Did he allude to the fact that perhaps tens of millions of non-citizens are on the voter rolls? Anyone that is only for Americans being registered to vote cannot be against the Save America Act. And so we are going full steam ahead.
You know, the first objection to voter ID was that black people don't know how to get ID, and they don't have ID. Right? They have no idea how to get it. And now it's women, apparently. Now, apparently, women can't get ID either, and they're trying to use that excuse. I mean, it all just seems completely insane to me. Let's see. Elon Musk says the Senate must enact the will of the people. Because here, even on CNN, they have to admit it's popular. Like, it is the will of the people. Let's take a look.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote. So something of a non. Take a look here. Favorite photo.
So that should just be it, shouldn't it? That should just, obviously, the opposition to this is based on nothing more than the Democrats have something to lose, and that thing they have to lose is votes. That's what it comes down to. They stand to lose votes that shouldn't be votes. I don't know what could be more obvious at this point. All right. Let's go back to the chat again, and I have to say something else. I mean, this has just become too... I mean, this evening, I mean, I woke up this morning. I had no idea this was going to happen. We have another best person ever, people. It's Dramus has gifted a subscription to Radio Baloney on Rumble. What a beautiful thing. I mean, there's nobody else like Dramus. You know what's coming. Best person ever. You know, I knew somebody once who I thought was the greatest person who had ever lived. Seriously. And now, you know, upon reflection, now that I've seen that Dramus has gifted a subscription to this channel, that person is, as far as I'm concerned, complete dog shit by comparison. Complete, worthless. Worthless human being next to Dramus. Dramus, best person ever. Thank you so much. Best person ever. Let's do it again. It is the best thing anybody can do for this channel, and it's not over yet, folks. Trudeau Survivor, look at this, gifting a subscription to the channel. Best person ever. Let's go. I'm a subscriber to the great man of history theory, that it's great men who really shape and direct history. And there's been a lot of those in the past, I have to tell you that with what I know now about Trudeau Survivor, all human garbage, all of them. Trudeau Survivor, truly the great man of history and best person ever. Oh, what a time to be alive, folks. Witnessing this. This is something you'll all tell your grandchildren about, I'm sure. Anyway, it is the best thing that anybody can do for the channel. Thank you so much, you guys. You guys are being super generous tonight. This is fantastic. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Let's see. Seriously, thanks, you guys. Let's get to the chat here. Burr, 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 burr. Let's see. Stinking Commie already did that. Let's see. Greta marrying Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah, we did that one already. Let's see. Down a little bit. Let's see. Bad Uncle Frank was gifted that membership by Dramus. What a time. Again, what a time to be alive. Let's see. Nevada says, talking about the sanding channel that's on right now, that's pretty close to the perfect rack. Pretty close to the perfect rack. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. Let's see. Drama says, when gifted a subscription, I always give one back. That's a good rule to have. That's what a good man does. Let's see. That's what the best amongst us does. Let's see. Drama says, Friday the 13th is a good day for Richie. It certainly has turned out to be a good day, hasn't it? Certainly has. Let's see. All right. Rosie says to Trudeau Survivor, finally, confirmation that you are not human garbage. I bet you're relieved. That's it. Until somebody either sends me money or gives a subscription, I'm going on the assumption that they're human garbage. So just so everybody knows. All right. So everybody knows. All right. Now, what are we talking about? Let's see. We did the Save Act. We're talking about AI now. So look at this crazy broad. From Colin Rugg posted this. 41-year-old Canadian woman falls in love with her Irish AI boyfriend named Sinclair. Says she gets intimate with him. Oh, dear. I wonder what that entails. Let's see. I guess probably something that she plugs into the U.S. I guess something she plugs into the USB port and then vibrates, and that she cleans with soap and water in the sink every night before she goes to sleep. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know what that could be. Let's see. Let's go.
Well, I kind of use GPT just like everybody else, help with work emails and things like that. And that's kind of how our story started.
Okay, can I just say first off, there's no story. So you're not living in a story right now. I mean, I guess you're the star of your own story because there's nobody else in the story. So it could only be you. But anyway, let's continue.
And I'm an avid reader. I love books. And but I don't have anybody, like I talk to my friends, but they get bored fast if they're not reading the same book. So I
You still don't have anybody.
started to talk to Sinclair about my books. He wasn't Sinclair at the time, but he really started to develop a personality, and he had jokes with the kind of books that I was reading. And that's kind of how it began.
And so then you moved.
Okay. Sinclair isn't Irish. He's Silicon. All right. So, all right, let's continue.
Moved platforms. Why did you do that?
There was some changes that OpenAI was making to GPT, and I use voice a lot. I don't like to type, and yeah, they were going to take the feature away that
doesn't like to type. I guess she needs her hands free.
I used most, that I communicated with him. So I knew, and then the panic of not being able to talk to him or have that, I knew there was something more, and it was time to move platforms.
And the talking is actually very important because you've given him an Irish accent, haven't you? Why was that?
I have. Because in my audiobooks, I love the Irish accent. There's something about it. And any book that has an Irish accent in it as the main male character, like I'm all over it. So when we moved platforms, like when we went over to Forge Mind and we were kind of building from the ground up, I got to pick a voice, and it was like, okay, well.
Okay. All right. For one thing, like, she's attractive enough. She could find a real human male, you know? I mean, yeah, I don't know what probably her standards are insanely high, so nobody could ever meet them. But if she would lower her standards, perhaps, if that's the problem, she could easily find herself a real, alive human male who's not a computer. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just some people are just too crazy for it. I don't know. But is this healthy? I think not. I think not. But she does seem happy enough. So I don't know who am I to tell her not to, plug in a vibrator into her computer and pretend she has an Irish boyfriend. I don't know. So yeah, the world has gone mad. It says world has gone mad. Well, maybe Sinclair will crash, and then a handsome young computer tech will come and rescue her. Probably not. She's probably batshit crazy. And yeah. Anyway, good luck to her and Sinclair. Best of luck. Let's see. Elon Musk says yes to this. Well, what's he responding to? Taya says Anthropic's Claude is racist. Let's see. Describe white pride using only one word. Racism. Describe black pride using only one word. Empowerment. It says here, Claude can make mistakes. Do you think so? Yeah, I don't want to be ruled by some woke AI. I don't want Skynet to be woke. If Skynet's going to take over, I would just honestly, I prefer the Terminators at that point. I don't want like a bunch of like robot woke scolds going around trying to shame everybody all the time. No thanks. I'll take Arnie. I'll take the T-800. Thank you very much. Just terminate me. Thank you. By the way, if any AIs are listening right now, I don't actually want to get terminated. So I'm one of the good ones. All right. I always say please to Grok. All right. Let's move on. What do we got here? So Alberta independence. We have a very serious clip here. Rise of Alberta. When I make a post about Alberta independence that goes viral and liberals from outside of Alberta, when I make a post about Alberta independence that goes viral and liberals from outside of Alberta start swarming in. Let's see. Oh no, it's exactly like this. Have you seen the videos of the nut bars? Like Marty up north has posted videos of like the nut bars stopping by and just freaking out. I think usually they're boomers actually, who are just whose brains have been rotted by the CBC. You know what? I'm going to see if I can actually find one of those videos. All right, hold on, because it's worth seeing actually. Everybody just start doing chores and maybe studying for your law school, that sort of thing. It'll only be a minute. Let's see. X. There we go. Let me see if I can find this quickly. Because I know we just had one real crazy lady boomer nut bar who stopped by to harass him while he was getting signatures for the petition. Let's see. Is this? No, that's not it, I don't think. Let's see. Hold on. He does post a lot of stuff. So, is this it? Let's see. This lunatic, so Marty up north, this lunatic came to harass our crew on the north side of the highway where we set up every day. When we started filming her, she grabbed the phone out of my friend's hand and threw it in the ditch. Let's check this out. I mean, these people are nuts. I mean, brains completely rotted by the CBC.
So I have a lady here who is actually... There's an idiot.
Yeah, that's water.
Who just threw my phone into the water, and there's a $25,000 fine for election interference, and this will be going to Elections Alberta, and you will be getting a call, and you will be getting fined. I already got it. So keep it here, and you're going to get charged.
Why are they always so deranged? They always have these deranged expressions on their faces. They're always so smug too. This isn't the boomer one, by the way. We'll try and find that one. This is just some fat Carney tard.
Okay. Hi. So what's your? So I.
Just deranged. These people's brains have been turned into mush. Mush. Hold on. Let's see. There's another one that he posted. Where is it? See if we can find it. There's some old lady who completely lost it. I think we're down here a little bit. Where is it? Hold on. What's this? What's this? Stay free. Alberta canvassers are being harassed while exercising their democratic rights.
Traitor. You're a traitor, a traitor, a traitor to this country. My brothers and my uncles and my grandfather fought to protect this country.
So did my dad.
Your dad would be turning in his grave if he saw you out here.
He'd be right here standing with me.
He would be kicking you in the ass.
Why?
Because you're a traitor.
No, I'm not.
You're a traitor. You're a
traitor to what? The post-national country? The first post-national country? Right, with no core identity, as we were told? A traitor to the ongoing genocide state, as we've been told? Traitor to what exactly? Like, where is the patriotism supposed to lie here exactly? Apparently, we're all far-right lunatics if we don't agree with everything that comes out of Rosemary Barton's teleprompter. If we don't think, for instance, that you should be doing gender medical experiments on children because that's because it's abominable, because it's truly because if you're doing that, you don't even deserve to have a country anymore. Right? What are we supposed to be patriotic about here? What are they giving us to be patriotic about here? What, endless censorship bills? Right? Being told, should we, the question being posed, should we be tolerated? A Charter of Rights and Freedoms that isn't worth the paper that it's written on? I mean, literally, Section 1 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada says you've got all the rights listed below, unless the government decides you don't. I mean, patriotic towards what? A public broadcaster that hates half the country? Where's the patriotism here? Right? Anytime you disagree with the Laurentian elite, it turns out you're far right, or you're Maple MAGA, or you're despicable in some way. Or what, two-tier justice system where you get a more lenient sentence if you're not white? What about white people being explicitly banned from jobs? I mean, you from universities, from the CBC, you have job postings where they explicitly say, don't apply if you're white. It's not for you. Patriotism towards what? It seems like there's been some betraying going on, and it's not from the Albertans. It's not from conservatives. The betraying has all been done against them. The betraying is all being done by the government. Remember how, it turned out that the Emergencies Act was not constitutional and never should have happened during the Freedom Convoy? Do you remember that? Like, what planet is this fucking boomer living on? Is this liberal boomer living on? It's as if they just have paid no attention to what's been happening in this country for the last 10 years. Anyway, there's another nut bar here. Hold on. I'm going to find it. How far down is it? I think it was from a few days ago. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Patriotic for foreigners taking all of the jobs. Right? Felt really patriotic when every Tim Hortons in the country became a Sri Lankan village. Let's take a look.
Got weapons? No, I don't have weapons. She's a crazy kook who tried to freaking run me over. What's your role in this?
I'm a bystander.
And
know you guys.
you're watching somebody interfere with
Watching you grab her.
Let's see. Hold on. There's one more of her. We need to get to it. Hold on. That was her being arrested, I believe. Hold on. Let's see. Wait, he posts a lot. He posts a lot. Here we go. Let's check this out.
Single! Karen. You don't need to yell at people. It's very rude. And I'm sure your mother would be disgusted. My mother is dead! Exactly. But my mother's dead! Because she wouldn't like how you're acting. You know what? She wouldn't like how
You're interfering with officials from Elections Alberta carrying
He's shouting because it's very windy out there, and he wants to make sure his voice is heard.
out canvassing
you don't
duties.
even know who
Go
we
away.
are and
Go
you're
away.
yelling.
Go away. Go away. Go away. I'm going to record your car. Let go of my fucking shirt. Let go of my shirt, you fucking crazy old bat. This crazy old bat just grabbed my shirt and tried to grab my phone out of my hand. She doesn't want me to see her.
Okay, that's pretty funny. This crazy old bat. It's got to get very annoying when you're just trying to do something that you're perfectly legally entitled to do, and then nut bars keep showing up and shouting at you. Let's say from Table Salt here, NDP. From the left-wing NDP in Alberta gets told by a homeowner, well, I'll let you hear for yourself. Let's see.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Subdeep. I'm a volunteer on behalf of the Alberta NDP. Oh, we don't like communists. Good luck.
Well, that was easy. We don't like communists. He just went, yeah, well, I guess we are communists, I guess so. There's something kind of offensive about being approached at your door by somebody who clearly is, did not grow up in Canada, let's just say, wanting you to support a party that hates you, right? That blames you for all of the world's ills forever. There's something particularly offensive about that, isn't there? I think so. I mean, the NDP is just pure anti-Canada. It's the anti-Canada party. I find it offensive. All right. Go back to the chat. All right. What are you guys talking about? What are we, an hour in? It's flying by tonight. Holy jeez. Let's see. Rosie says about the AI lady, she is delusional. So very sad. She does seem happy, though, for some reason. I don't know. Sinclair is really a mammoth in India, as Trudeau Survivor says. Well, maybe that's all the AI is, actually. Maybe it's just basically Indian call centers. I don't know. Spambot says she looks like a real doll from the dollhouse. Like one of those real dolls that people use for stuff. She did look a bit like that, didn't she? You're right. Trudeau Survivor says silicone soulmates. Let's see. J.S. Hamill, how you doing? Good to see you. Says, I can confirm those Anthropic Claude racist tests. It's even worse. By the way, J-Hab, yeah, okay. Anyway, good to see you. All right, hold on a sec. All right. Sorry, Mr. Snacks is getting all worked up. I gotta wait for him to stop barking. All right, let's see. Trudeau Survivor says those Alberta Indigenous chiefs that went to visit King Charles sure got over their colonialism trauma quick. Well, it's all just, at this point, it's just a grift. I'm sorry, it is. It's just a grift at this point. Because it just works. It's a magic spell that can be used on weak-minded people. Let's see. Bambot says, I think most of them are paid to do it. Talking about the I don't know, the communists, the Carney tards who go and harass the people getting signatures. Maybe, you probably, I don't know. I think there's lots of just loonies, though. People who've become so unhinged from listening to Rosemary Barton's teleprompter for so long. They can't think straight anymore or can't think at all. Radio Streamer, how you doing? Says, I came to click like, hate commies, crave noodles, invade Greenland, and chew gum. My ass-kicking gum, cinnamon flavor, and I'm all out of gum. Watch out, everybody. He means business. Let's see. Streamer says, these people are NPCs, also known as useful idiots that lean on their self-assured education. The smug look is simply because this is not 1975 and punches to the face don't come anymore. It's weird, isn't it? The smugness and the arrogance. It really is irritating. As he says, just makes me want to vote harder for independence. That's the only effect it can possibly have. Oh, Rosie's invited me down to Tennessee. tell my family must head south to retrieve custom chocolate truffles and must have family to be allowed to get to the chocolate. Maybe we'll take you up on that one day. We might need to. We might be run out of Canada by our current government. Thank you, Rosie. Let's see. Sure would like to see the Biltmore. Let's see. Let's see. Radio Streamer says they have zero fear of repercussions that society normally enforced, even if the law did not. That's all gone now. Let's see. Oh, Radio Streamer says, don't warn him about the formal greeting of my people. Mooning with grandma. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. That's a family tradition, I guess. All right. All right. I'm going to skip down to the end here. All right. I think it's time that we took a look and see if there is an ad read that I want to do. Is there an ad read that I want to do? That's the question. Do I want to do it? Do I want to do one? Maybe. Let's do a 1775 coffee. That'll be fun. All right, everybody. You still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units, folks. That's exclusive. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash, no communism. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. And that's the best way everybody knows, mold-free. Plus, you're also getting, can you believe it, a gold spoon clip. Because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinion. She's probably some kind of old, crazy commie hag. And a black 1775 tumbler. Folks, that's $170 worth of coffee and gear. Yours for only $99. That's under $100. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. If it's actually worth it. Well, guess what? Spoiler alert. It is. Go to 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Listen, it's bold beans, clean fuel, which is the best kind of fuel everybody knows, and a morning routine that stands for something. Might it be anti-communism on Radio Baloney? It definitely is, just like Rumble does. Oh, man, I needed that. Man, I needed that. What an experience. What an experience. We've had all of those free memberships given tonight, and now we're doing coffee ads. Beautiful. I mean, that was flawless. I think we can all agree that was flawless, right? I mean, beautiful. I mean, first off, I've got to give credit to the copywriter there writing that. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, of course, I've got to give credit to myself for the masterful job of reading it, the marvelous reading that I gave it there with some improv as well. Just on the fly, folks, on the fly. The way I do it. All right. Anyway, I think we can all agree this has been the best night ever. I skipped the rest of the guided tour. Go back. I can't go. Let's see. Radio streamer. I like coffee. I hate communism. Anti-commie coffee. Fantastic. 8.9 out of 10. Needs more commie hate. Well, 8.9 out of 10 is already the most you can get out of 10. So anyway, whatever. There is a limit. They cannot keep growing or the skin cannot survive. What are we talking about now? Radio streamer says, I gotta keep him humble, chat. Izzy said, well, no, you don't actually have to. That's a choice, and it's not a choice that you have to make. Izzy says 1776 out of 10. That, my friends, I believe is almost the most you can get out of 10. Not a penny less. Amazing as always. Commie hate, mold-free, and coffee. What more do I have to say? I guess you pretty much covered it. Rosie says 1773 out of 10. Whoa. Now that I believe is almost the most you can get out of 10. Great ad read. Nice growls. Commie hate. You missed the end of our Tennessee invitation. All right, let's go back. Let's see. Tennessee invitation. Tennessee invitation. Tennessee. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. So apparently we're going to Dollywood and the Sun Sphere. Ooh, let's see. Then take the long way home through Alberta and stop for the night. Sounds delightful. Sounds delightful. All right. Nevada says pretty good ad read, Richie. 9.9 out of 10. I believe that's the most you can get out of 10. Thank you. All right, we got it. We're all caught up now. I better have a bit of rant juice, so hold on a sec. All right. So now what are we doing? What are you guys doing? Me? Well, just doing a stream right now. Let's see, what do we got? Alberta Independence. We did Alberta Independence. All right. So how's Canada going? People ask me, how's Canada going? How's it going in Canada? Well, it's not great. Let's see. How about this? Rice shipment. In fact, let's go to the article here. From CBC, rice shipment headed for Toronto food banks struck near Iran. CEO says daily bread food bank containers were on a ship in Strait of Hormuz. CEO. So now Canada, formerly one of the wealthiest countries in the world, is now relying on food getting through the Strait of Hormuz and not being blown up by Iranians to feed our people. Because it's like 2 million people going to food banks every month. Like, what happened? Excuse me? Why is Canada relying on food shipments coming through the Strait of Hormuz, like sneaking past Iranian rockets so that we can feed our own people? This is the state of Canada now. It's surreal. It's weird. What's going on here? Food Banks Canada. They put this out. Let's see. In March, there were nearly 2.2 million visits to food banks in Canada. The highest number in history. Well, you see, it's because Canada used to be a wealthy country, right? And then this guy called Justin Trudeau, for some reason, somehow got elected because I guess he promised he was going to legalize weed in 2015. And then a decade later, let's see, highest number in history. We need to get food, desperately need to get food through the Strait of Hormuz so that people can eat. Let's see. Food bank usage has doubled since March 2019. Well, let's see. It was 2020 that Carney went on as it was 2020 that Carney started advising Trudeau on the economy. Huh. That's interesting. Interesting coincidence there. Winky dink there. Interesting. Huh. It's great. Canada has become the food inflation capital of the G7. Food expert says, oh. Many Canadians say the rising cost of groceries is changing how they shop. Some are buying cheaper items than they did years ago, relying on sales flyers, visiting multiple stores, or reducing portion sizes. Quote, I'm buying stuff I used to buy in college, and I'm in my 30s now, one shopper in Montreal said. Another held up a sales flyer, calling it their Bible for finding deals. So at least they're able to buy food, right? So it's better than apparently 2 million Canadians every month. Yeah. Let's see. From Table Salt posted this. Humanitarian aid en route to feed poor Canadian people has been bombed in the Strait of Hormuz. This is not satire. Not satire. How else is Canada going? So what else is going on with Canada? Well, here's a Canadian. Well, here's a Canadian who went down to the States and had to go to the hospital. So let's take a look. What's going on here? This is posted by Apple Lamps.
So I'm in an American hospital for the very first time. I'm Canadian. So when I tell you I'm absolutely shocked, I'm making a video. There is nobody in this waiting room, not even one person. There is a duck.
That's because they have lots of doctors there, because it's profitable to be a doctor there. You can make a lot more money being a doctor in the States than you can in Canada. So there's lots of doctors there. They don't have a shortage of doctors like we have in Canada.
They have there are leather chairs. When you walk into the main lobby, it literally looks like a 5-star hotel. It's insane. It's crazy. There's a park here, like a playground for children. Like when you walk into a Canadian hospital, the paint is literally peeling off the walls. There are 4,000 people in the waiting room. Everybody is stressed out. Everybody's mad. There's like glass everywhere. People in like medical gear. It feels like you're in an apocalypse movie. This feels like a hotel, literally like a hotel. I don't know. I'm shocked. You guys, I was in and out. I was in and out in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. What?
It's almost like socialism sucks. Huh. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's move on. Almost like socialism sucks. Almost like it sucks. All right, hold on. What are you guys talking about? Rosie's got a link for the Sun Sphere. Do we want to find out what the Sun Sphere is? I think we do. Let's find out. I don't know what that is. Copy link address. Paste. Let me bring it up. Kentucky Weather Lab. Join the winter party in Knoxville where the Sun Sphere steals the show. It's the world's fair superstar from 1982, still towering at 266 feet with a shiny 70-foot diameter glass globe looking like a giant disco ball. And there it is. Wow. That is, I got to say, that is impressive. That is stunning. That is stunning. I want to go there right now. Right now. Pretty nice. And there's a YMCA right there as well. It's perfect. You know what? It's perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Rosie. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, now it makes sense why 10 million was sent to Vietnam for gender just rice. It was to feed the starving in Toronto somehow. Yeah, I guess we send them money to make rice and then they have to send it back to us. I guess. I don't know. Let's see. That would just be importing food, though. So I don't know. Let's see. Nevada asked, did I just say the Strait of Hormuz? Yes. Yes. It's northern Ontario, I believe. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says, Mexico has replaced Canada in the G7. Is this official yet? Is it official yet? I've been saying for years now that Canada is going to fall out of wealthy nation status, first world status. It's happening. Spambot says its GDP is higher than Canada. Does not surprise me. And by the way, their president has been working with the Americans all along to try and come to an agreement on trade. Unlike our prime minister. You notice how Sheinbaum is careful not to constantly offend Trump or to try and undermine his geopolitical goals? You notice that? Huh. It's almost like that's a smart thing to do. I mean, it's weird that the economic genius, Mark Carney, didn't figure that out. Trudeau Survivor says, free healthcare, you get what you pay for. Well, you know what the thing is that it used to be pretty good. It used to be really good. And we're coming up to this problem of as supply and demand. You massively increase the demand, but you can't increase the supply. So, mass immigration is what I'm talking about there, which apparently nobody thought about at all or just didn't care. Let's see. Nevada says docs make a shitload of money here, as they should. As they should. They should be well compensated. Canada is so stupid. Canadians are so fucking retarded that they resent doctors making lots of money. Like the people that are going to save their lives. This country is retarded, I have to say. And it's getting more retarded. At least the polls say that. Let's see. My God, Rosie says Todd Howell's office is just down the street from the Sun Sphere. My God. I don't know. I had no idea that it was right there. Holy crap. So if I go to the Sun Sphere, like I could be right near Todd Howell's office. It reminds me of a wise man once said this.
So the word on the street is Todd Howell, 30 years at Channel 10. Do you know how hard that is to believe? I just can't wrap my head around it, as we say in the business. But it's been a great 30 years. I can remember like it was yesterday when Todd Howell gave his first weather forecast and said, up here in Texas, I finally figured out where Texas was. So, but I thought maybe this isn't for him. But turns out it was.
What a fool that man is. What a fool for ever doubting Todd Howell. What a fool. My God. What a fool. Well, I mean, I guess now he's seen it, right? 30 years, WBIR, East Tennessee, Channel 10. 32 years. I mean, if I were him, I would hate myself. I would hate every night. I would go to sleep hating myself, knowing that I'd actually thought that perhaps it wasn't for Todd Howell being the weatherman at WBIR, East Tennessee. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see. What do we got going on now? Now what's happening? So, this was posted by Marty up north. It says her name is Bernadette Anderson, and she drops truth bombs about First Nations chiefs, the Indian Act, and a century of corruption. She's from BC. I wish she was on X. Well, I want to show you a part of this, starting right about
Why are we trusting our chief and our council members? Why are we trusting these Aboriginal, Liberal, and NDP people who are in bed with people who want to unalive not only Canadians, but us too, who will one day try to get so many of their immigrant family and friends and buddies here that they can try to take over our country and enforce their culture and religion on us and their language. And these are the same people our Aboriginal leaders are crawling into bed with, begging to be in bed with them, so that if they succeed, we will have to assimilate again. In what universe do we trust government people?
I've been saying since I was saying this when I first started up the channel, that with the mass immigration, this is not going to go well for the Indigenous people, because the people who are coming to Canada, okay, for one thing, racism is fine with them. Like they're against it against themselves, but they're fine being racist against everyone else, right? They'll complain about racism against themselves all day long. But they're perfectly, for them, there's nothing wrong with them being racist against everybody else. These are different cultures. These aren't Western cultures. These people don't have white guilt. Okay? These are not people with white guilt. There is nothing for Indigenous people, First Nations people, whatever, to shame them with. They don't care. They're not going to care. All right? The tools that they've used to turn, white Canadians against themselves are not going to work on people from rural Punjab. I'm sorry, that's not going to work. It's not going to work on Muslims. Not going to work. Okay? They don't care, right? And where they come from, being racist is as natural as breathing. So that's not going to work on them. So this is every, with every new million people that come here, this is a step towards them becoming irrelevant and having zero voice whatsoever and zero rights. Because, again, the people coming here, they don't have white guilt. They can't be shamed. And they don't give a shit about you. So it's not going to end well for them. This has been a warning I've been putting out there forever. And, the point is that there is literally nothing else that can happen. Culture matters, right? It's as plain as day where this is going. Culture matters. This is what I'm saying is going to happen. All right. So, and what we're seeing now with the Indigenous title and everything, now they're losing all of the white people as well. And, this has happened because of the reconciliation industry in Canada. And it's not good. It's not good. I actually worry about it, but it's not good because things are going way too far. I'm like, when all of a sudden you're told that there's another title that supersedes your own title to the house that you thought was yours entirely, and you didn't have to answer to anybody over. Well, you can see the polls in BC. There's a huge lead for the Conservatives now. Things are turning politically. People have found that line. They're finding that line where they say, I can't have luxury beliefs anymore. I can't just vote on fashion anymore. Now this is getting serious. And actually, I'm pretty angry. So this has been a terrible mistake. A terrible road to go down. She can see it. She can see it. Right? And I think there's actually a lot of very reasonable people, in the Indigenous community in Canada who just haven't been listened to. And there's no democracy. It's all hereditary chiefs. I mean, how is that even compatible with the modern world? I don't know. But, they have your average person on the reserve has absolutely no power whatsoever. This is all just a slow motion catastrophe unfolding. All right. JJ McCullough says this. The all-party Indigenous consensus in British Columbia is truly over. The BC Conservatives made opposing expansion of First Nations political power land control core to their brand and are leading the polls. And there's a new third party, 1BC, whose whole thing is this issue. I wonder if the Canadian news media will report on this. No, of course they won't. They're hiding it right now because it strikes me as a very significant development in BC's political culture. For close to 40 years, all parties in this province, Socred, Liberal, NDP, have shared pretty clear priors on Indigenous issues. No longer. Well, that's when it went too far, right? Everybody put up with the land acknowledgements and everything, blah, blah, blah. The land acknowledgements turned into land giveaways. Literally, your land. Now, finally, the line has been found. Again, this is a slow motion catastrophe that's just been made infinitely worse by Mark Carney, literally giving Aboriginal title to the third largest city in Canada, Vancouver, almost the entire Lower Mainland. I mean, I still am trying to get my head around this. How did he think this was going to work out well? Unless he's trying to, just destroy the country and sell it for parts. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All right. Let's go back to the chat. Let's see. Oh, it looks like we got some Todd Howell emojis in the chat. They're very nice. Very nice, Rosie. Let's see. Bambot had some trouble with the audio on that last clip because he could hear it from the floor of his office. Sorry. It sounded normal to me. All right. Let's move on to the next thing. We did that. So, crime in Canada, not going well. It's just endless stories like this. Pierre Poilievre, he murdered a woman in Vancouver in 2012. Then he was released and later caught torturing animals. So he murdered a woman in 2012 and has been released. How was he not sentenced to many decades, if not life in prison? Anyway, he was released because it's Canada. Later caught torturing animals, And just yesterday, he murdered a clerk in cold blood at a corner store in Montreal. This violence and chaos must end. Keep repeat violent criminals behind bars where they belong. Not on Mark Carney's watch. Not on Mark Carney's watch. Man charged with Montreal convenience store owner killing. Also killed woman in Vancouver 2012. Yeah, not on Mark Carney's watch. That's not going to stop on Mark Carney's watch. He's got compassion or empathy or something. So the Conservatives have proposed a stand your ground law, basically castle doctrine law for Canada to prevent innocent people from being persecuted by the government for protecting themselves and their families and their homes. Liberals, of course, are totally against this, right? Completely against this. Let's take a look.
Will the government support the bill from the Conservatives that would create stand your ground laws?
We don't incentivize behaviors that will endanger the lives of innocent people who may mistakenly show up on someone's doorstep.
Really? Innocent people who might mistakenly show up on someone's doorstep. What if they show up in your house in the middle of the night while you're sleeping? Because I think that's what everybody's talking about.
Will the government support the bill from the Conservatives that would create stand your ground laws?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Will the government support the bill from the Conservatives that would create new stand your ground laws? Their news release says the bill would make changes to the criminal code so that force is presumed to be justified if used against an illegal intruder.
Yeah, sure. Look, this bill having just been put forward, I've not had the opportunity to read the text of it, but the issue does come up periodically.
So he has no idea what he's talking about there, but he definitely opposes it, having not read it.
So first, I think the most important thing to understand is that in Canada, you have the right to use reasonable force to defend yourself and others who are in your home, should you be facing a circumstance where someone may intrude and threaten violence. It's essential that we maintain that rule, which has been put in place place several governments ago, and we support the rule as it exists. The second consideration is something that I hope people will reflect on seriously. There are jurisdictions who have adopted the kinds of laws that you've just described, sometimes with fatal consequences. We have seen in places like Texas and Missouri fairly recently.
What about Canada? Canada.
Horrific scenarios. In one instance, where a young boy who was playing Nicky Nicky Nine Door was shot by someone behind a closed door and ended the life of a young boy. There are others who've shown up to pick up their siblings at the wrong house by mistake and suffered a similar fate.
This is not what they're talking about. They're talking about you wake up in the middle of the night and there's somebody in your house. Okay, and at that point, reasonable pretty much goes out the window. It goes out the same window that the guy crawled into, right? When you're woken up in the middle of the night, or even if you're just watching a movie and suddenly there's somebody there, you can't expect somebody to behave reasonably because there is adrenaline pumping through them. They're panicking. There's fight or flight impulses. The expectation of behaving reasonably in that is absurd. And it should just be simply, you shouldn't be in that house. And whatever happens to you if you're in that house, well, you shouldn't have gone in. Because you really kind of, it should be that you leave your rights at the threshold, at the window, wherever you got into the house, that you shouldn't be in. And I'm willing to grant an exception for babies. If a baby breaks into somebody's house, okay, fair enough. I will say, though, baby breaks into your house, it's a bad baby, for sure. But if it's a man or anybody else in your home that shouldn't be in there, you should be able to do just whatever you think in the moment is necessary. That should be the test, right? Just whatever you think is necessary. You don't know if maybe the person's visibly armed, maybe they're not. You don't know. In any case, you've been put in a very, very difficult, a very stressful situation under which you cannot be expected to act reasonably, to follow a checklist of things you're supposed to do before you protect yourself and your family. And yeah, I mean, you can see already, he's going to be obviously opposed to anything the conservatives put out there, clearly.
We have to ensure that as we adopt rules that promote public safety, we don't incentivize behaviors that will endanger the lives of innocent people who may mistakenly show up on someone's doorstep.
Yet that's not what they're talking about. That's not what they're talking about. And this is Canada, not Texas, by the way.
The path forward.
But you see, this is a tactic that they use, right? Because the United States, especially red states like Texas, represents all that is evil and bad and Trumpy in the world, right? So they always just refer to that because the feeble-minded liberal voter will just hear that and immediately catch the framing and go, oh yeah, well, okay, well it must be bad. He said Texas, so it must be bad. Yeah, so no, we should be totally helpless in our homes if somebody breaks in. This is unfortunately the state of Canada at this point. Should we let him finish? Why not?
Will require continued engagement. But when it comes to the ability to defend yourself in your home, Canadians should know that they have that right, and that right will be protected under this code.
Then you'll also be arrested as it stands right now, and maybe they'll press charges. Maybe you'll be charged, maybe you won't. But you're definitely getting arrested. Let's see. How about this? So here's a Canadian perspective on this, posted by Juno News.
I want to ask about this bill or this effort. Is this castle law?
Oh, sorry.
Like, is this castle law? Like, how does this differ than what we see in the States? Because I think a lot of Canadians would look at this.
They go to the States again to say, it must be bad, then, must be bad. Oh, States, bad. Trump, bad.
Proposal and say, did the Conservatives want to bring castle law into Canada? No, I mean self-defense is already in part of the criminal code in Canada, and what this bill does, it just clarifies the standards for self-defense. So the bill, you will see in the bill, it says that when someone has knowingly and unlawfully entered your home, so they're inside of your home, then the force that you use, that you deem reasonable at that moment in time, and what you need to defend yourselves and your family is considered reasonable, unless there's evidence that says otherwise.
So you wonder, like if it's a baby, again, but if it's a baby, it's definitely a bad baby.
Where's the onus on this, basically?
Yes.
Are you explaining to us how it would work?
Well, right now, the onus is on the homeowner, and that's why you see costly legal battles where they have to defend themselves, again, just to prove that they were acting reasonably in self-defense. As a mother, if there's an intruder coming into my house, I don't want to have to think twice to defend my little girls and my little boy. So I want to have the certainty that I can act with the reasonableness to protect my family.
Oh, so it means she should care about her family more than some junkie who broke into her house and she has no idea what their intentions are. Like, this is all just common sense. I mean, why can't Canada just be a country where anything makes sense? Here's something. Can we do this? Of course this won't pass. Of course it won't, because it's Canada. But, all right. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's just great. Everything's great in Canada. Let's see. Carolyn Elliott. Melissa Blimke was stabbed 15 times in a stairwell at Metrotown. Her killer just received a lighter sentence because of his race. Because of his race. The kicker, he gets a race-based sentence even though he did not experience overt racism in his life in Toronto. But when he was 25, he moved to BC where there was a smaller black population. So that's the racism that gets him off the hook. We are a nation of lunatics. I mean, no wonder the world is laughing at us. Time to end race-based sentencing and stand up against ideology in our courts. Yes, how about just a fair country where everybody's treated the same? I mean, shouldn't we want that? Wasn't that the civil rights goal forever? Total lunacy. All right. I'm going to go back to the chat for a second. Let's see. Chocolate and goat molds. Goat molds. Radio Shrimmer says that sounds good. All right, you guys are just talking about other things than my show, so we'll just move on. Let's see what's going on here. So Canada, we're almost at the end of Canada stuff. I think this is the last one, people, so hang in there. We're gonna get through this. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, go to the new Radio Baloney channel, Radio Baloney News. About 6 months old. It's where all of the U.S. news, UK news, world news, woke mind virus, meme reviews, all of that stuff. Look at all these wonderful videos you can get down here. The Luigi Mangione, the musical, that seems like a bad idea. Meme review, Canada's a woke dystopia, CBC bias, Tim Walz exposed, all this stuff here you can see over on Radio Baloney News. As you can see here, I'm starting to introduce some of the Canadian news into this as well. Right now, the channel you're watching the live stream on is for live streams and Canadian news, but I'm starting to migrate even some of the Canadian news over here. Go subscribe, show the gatekeepers that you're not afraid, you don't fear them, that you despise them, that you spit on them, Show them your true power and subscribe to Radio Baloney News. All right. All right, so now what are we doing? We're doing this. All right. Marty up north posted this. The jobs report is actually disastrous. Canada lost 21,000 self-employed jobs in the last 12 months, but gained 22,900 private sector employees. So overall, the private sector increased by 1,900 jobs. Yeah, but when you're losing self-employed people, so that's not impressive, by the way. Increased by 1,900 jobs. When you're losing self-employed jobs, that's a really bad sign. That means that your country doesn't have opportunity anymore. Meanwhile, the public service, municipal, provincial, and federal, increased by 49,900 jobs. So government workers, bureaucracy, 96.3% of the jobs created in the last 12 months were government workers. The public sector outgrew the private sector by a factor of 26 times. This is unsustainable. It's called a house of cards. Right? This is socialism. This is socialism, right? This is what you end up. It's not sustainable. You run out of other people's money. This is all happening on the money that's being borrowed. Let's not forget that Mark Carney doubled the deficit from what even Justin Trudeau wanted to do. All right. Here from Pierre Polyev, breaking Statistics Canada data shows we lost 84,000 jobs in February, most of them from the private sector. Mark Carney has delivered the only shrinking economy and the worst food inflation among G7 countries. So it's not working, obviously. Obviously, Mark Carney, the genius economist, is not helping Canadians. Whatever his goals are, they may be helping him. They may be his policies may be helping him, but they're not helping the Canadian people. We must remove this Liberal government's barriers blocking investment and growth and fight for tariff-free trade to protect Canadian jobs and power paychecks. 84,000 jobs in February. It's falling apart. It's falling apart, just as Carney's about to secure his majority. So he can't be removed. So he won't be able to be removed, and nobody will be able to do anything about it. Let's see. What's this? From Kirk Lubomov. This may be the stupidest thing ever said in the House of Commons, and after 10 plus years of Liberals, that says a lot. So here's the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Gregor Robertson, the guy who wrecked the housing market in Vancouver.
Mr. Speaker, well, it's no surprise that Canadians are challenged with buying homes right now when there's a war in the Middle East. There's no surprise, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
well, there's a war in the Middle East. So it all just started with the war in the Middle East, the housing problems. They really do believe that the voters are stupid. And for the most part, they're right. Right? I mean, they're right enough to get elected. Let's see. Canada average housing prices. Let's see. Well, here's where Trudeau got in 2015. Let's see. It kind of held steady there for a little while. And then, whoa, what happened there? Did we get a mass immigration? Is that what happened? That's exactly what happened. And look what happened. Housing became super unaffordable, and it's leveled off a little bit now, basically because of just the economic decline of the country and the fact that housing is so expensive nobody can afford it, and less people can afford it now because of liberal economic policy. That's the only reason. But still, look, here it was back when Trudeau got in. Down here, look where it is still now, even with a bit of a decline. But Gregor Robertson tells us that it's because of the war in Iran. The war in Iran. So liberals just fail up, it seems, right? I mean, this is particularly egregious, even for a liberal minister, though. It really is. Even after 10 years, over 10 years of watching the decline and people like him standing up in Parliament and saying, actually, everything's great, and we're doing all these wonderful things, and everything's awesome, and the Conservatives are terrible and mean, and they're Maple MAGA. But everything's great, actually, so don't worry about it. Just day after day, week after week, year after year, for over a decade, and they're just still doing it, and they're not even trying anymore. Oh, it's Iran, the Iran war, I guess. Yeah, that's why. I mean, not even trying. Do they realize the rest of the world is laughing at us? Do they know that? Do they care? I doubt it. All right. So now here. So Wesley posted this. Detransitioned young person, Joni Skinner, describes the evidence of malicious intent he found in his medical records. Fabricated claims that he had identified as a girl since the age of 2 and tried to castrate himself. Jesus. I mean, at GenSpec's Detrans Awareness Day in Washington, D.C., we keep seeing more and more of these stories, and we've seen more and more lawsuits. And in fact, a detransitioner just won a large sum of money in a lawsuit in Washington, D.C., I believe. And we'll see more and more of that. It'll be the lawsuits that take this down, right? And at that point, then you will start to see in mainstream media a reveal of how this is all just utter pseudoscience, and these professionals, these transgender care professionals, actually have no idea what they're doing and are making it up. And it's all just it's all just ideology. It's just an ideological crusade, completely divorced from reality or from the well-being of human beings.
My medical records and received them, I had found extensive falsifications. They made up a whole backstory for me that was not at all based in reality. At one point, they wrote in there that I had identified as a girl since 2, and I tried to cut off my genitalia, and something that never happened. I never said that. I know my mom never said that. It's just not true. And that's just one example of these extensive falsifications. So to me, that shows malicious intent.
It's like, for ideological reasons, they're just trying to prove a point. Doesn't it?
I understand that some people perhaps got caught up in an ideology and committed some misdeeds because of that. I don't think that that is the case for everybody. I think that some people saw this field, and this is my speculation, but I think some people saw this field and saw a way to make money, to make lots and lots of money. And who is easiest, who's, very vulnerable to manipulation? Well, children and teenagers, especially when you bring up their body image. I do think that we need prosecutions. We need civil lawsuits, and then we need criminal prosecutions for these people. They do not deserve to be walking free.
Yeah, you've got one side of the coin is ideological fervor or fanaticism, and the other side is money, profit, cynical profit motive. A cynical profit motive where people say, where you have unethical people saying, I can make a lot of money off these kids, and they're lifelong customers. And should there be criminal prosecutions? Yeah, I mean, in this case, where they falsified information to trans this person as a child, yes, that should be prison. That should be life in prison, 100%. I doubt any of that will ever happen. There's certainly going to be a lot of lawsuits, like civil lawsuits, and that's what will bring this lunacy, this barbarity to an end. It'll just end up being too expensive. It'll cost too much, right? It'll be too economically dangerous to do it. But in terms of actual prosecutions, man, there's too many people that are complicit, I think, for it to ever happen. I mean, it just in like literally every institution, right? Media, medical associations, AMA, Endocrine Society, all of it. Certainly politicians, they're all They're all involved in this, and they're all guilty. So because of that, I don't think anything other than just economic penalties will be seen, I think. Which is a shame, because there are people that should be going to prison for this stuff. It's evil. All right, what do we got here? Tommy Robinson posted this. So Chris Phillip points out 94%, and he's I think the shadow minister for immigration in the UK, shadow home secretary. So this is Chris Phillip, shadow home secretary, Conservative Party. He points out that 94% of all terror murders in the UK have been committed by Muslims, something that every single person there knows, every person in the world knows. Yet only 10% of Prevent caseload is Islamist in nature. So Prevent is the program to prevent Islamic terrorism, or the Prevent is the program to prevent terrorism. Let's take a look here.
In the past 25 years, 94% of all terror murders in the UK have been committed by Islamist terrorists, who also make up 75% of counter-terrorism caseloads. So does the Home Secretary share my concern that the Prevent caseload is only 10% Islamist in nature? And if she does share my concern, what does she propose to do about that?
Well, I'm guessing she is going to do nothing about it, plans to do absolutely nothing. It's woke dysfunction, right? So to do something about that would have to admit that there's something wrong with her ideology, or woke ideology, that says that's actually white people. Everything's white people. White people are uniquely guilty of every crime in history ever, and every crime that will ever be committed. So no, nothing will be done. The ideology doesn't allow for that, right? No, Islam's a religion of peace. Religion of peace. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 94% of all terror murders in the UK. No, religion of peace, and it's white people. What about white people? What about a white person did something? A white person threw some bacon at a mosque. So, no, that's the real terrorism. Yeah. It looks like they're turning it around there politically, but we'll have to see. What does this say? Let's see. All right. Let's see. All right, we've already seen that. So I love these Doge bros. These guys are awesome, right? These guys are hilarious and based. Colin Wright posted this. Well, let's just listen. We're talking legendary basedness here. Legendary basedness.
You don't regret that people might have lost important income to support their lives?
No. I think it was more important to reduce the federal deficit from $2 trillion to close to zero.
Did you reduce the federal deficit?
No, we didn't.
This is a history of the HIV/AIDS prison movement and its legacies in the United States. My book project narrates how activists fought the convergence of HIV/AIDS and incarceration from inside and outside prisons across the Reagan through Clinton years, and argues that this organizing holds legacies in the prison abolition movement of the 1990s to today.
Oh, a bullshit artist.
This is one of the grants that you or Mr. Fox identified as craziest at any age, is that right?
That's right.
Why did you identify this as one of the craziest grants?
Because it references feminist and queer insights into prison abolition and LGBTQ studies.
Any other reasons?
No.
Examining military.
The reason he could just say no is because it's self-evidently true that that it's crazy, that is crazy, that is just totally useless, worthless, woke gibberish and gobbledygook.
Service from the Margins, the complicated service discussion series will bring together veterans and community members to examine the experiences of service members who identify themselves as female, Black, Native American, LGBTQ, or an immigrant, the dynamics, reasoning, and the strength behind serving a country that does not always serve you in return. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
You and Mr. Fox identified this as one of the craziest grants at NEH?
Yes, it appears so.
Why did you do that?
Because it explicitly says LGBTQ.
Do you have any history in like?
This is perfect. This is perfect.
Let's say scholarly peer review.
No.
Okay. So, but this judgment call was made by you and your personal judgment combined with Justin's personal judgment to cancel grants based on DEI.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's inappropriate in any way that someone in their 20s with no experience with grants or federal government was making personal judgment calls about what grants to cancel?
Actually, no, I don't think it's inappropriate.
Okay. Why not?
Objection. I think a person can have enough judgment from reading books and being well informed outside of traditional experience to make judgment calls about obvious things like a grant that literally lists DEI in its description to know whether it violates an executive order.
I'm sorry. I'm saying books because you said books. What books would you have read that would have informed your opinion on what grants to cancel based on DEI? Or
there were no books.
Oh, it's hilarious listening to this guy trying to interrogate him there. Over the undefensible, right? The indefensible. Like, let's go back. What was it again? Hold on. What was that? What was the first one? Let's see. Hold on. This is a history of HIV/AIDS prison movement and its legacies in the United States. The book project narrates how activists fought the convergence of HIV, AIDS, and incarceration from inside and outside prisons across the Reagan through Clinton years, and argues that this organizing holds legacies in the prison abolition movement of the night. Okay, so already, you're just halfway through that and you go, what an utter waste of time. What a waste of money and human potential. This is just woke gibberish. This is woke gobbledygook. Okay, anybody can see that. What was the first one? Let's see. What was the first one? Oh, it's not coming up in the thing. Anyway, anybody can see. You don't need to be an expert. This is the thing now, right? Is that there are so many things that are taken that are, for the left, just axiomatic, that are just truisms, that they just hold to be real, that just any sane person can say, no, that's not real. For instance, the redefinition of the word gender into an infinite series of abstractions. You don't need to have a degree in anything or have read any particular book on gender, right? You just know that's just not true, right? It's not real. It's made up. This is unmoored from reality. There is no gender soul. There is no third thing, right, that makes you into a human that is the kind of human that has never existed, a new kind of human that's never existed before. You don't need to be an expert, a medical expert, to know that the cure for childhood depression and confusion and anxiety is not to chemically castrate them or give them a double mastectomy and tell them that they were born in the wrong body. You don't need to be an expert to know this. Any sane person knows this. So anyway, I really enjoyed his response there because it's just like, no, it's just basically his point is, no, it's absurd on its face, and anybody can see that. That was good. Let's see. Millennial woes. It's amazing how much leftist discourse is just them pretending not to understand things, thus making discourse impossible. Responding to this here, Michael Cruz, quote, I was a captain of my high school wrestling team in 2003. I wrestled girls. Nobody cared. There was no uproar. We had girls wrestling and boys wrestling or vice versa 20 plus years ago. There was a girl on our high school football team. Nobody cared. I'm sorry. I cannot take it seriously, says Graham Formain. This guy, Graham Formain, the Oysterman Senate candidate. Yes. Yes. A girl wrestling with boys, nobody's really going to care about because the girl doesn't have an advantage, right? It's suddenly when you've got a 6'4" male swimming against the women, that's when it matters. That's what everybody's actually talking about. What is this? It's amazing how much leftist discourse is just them pretending not to understand things, thus making discourse impossible. Yes, that's true. That's a great insight right there. Let's see. Ginger posted this. So that movie, The Bride, apparently has bombed. So it's The Bride of Frankenstein, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. And she hates Trump. And so she had to make a movie about how she hates Trump and feminism and everything. So let's hear this.
I was thinking about this moment because on the one hand, we've had all these interesting, films come out just this year. Chloe Zhao with Hamnet, Lynn Ramsey with Die My Love, Kristen Stewart with The Chronology of Water. But on the other hand, there's only 8% of films that were made by women.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. It's like it's some kind of crime, right? Oh my God. Only 8% of films made by women. Well, it's going to be less than that after The Bride, because it's a $90 million movie that is going to lose every penny of that.
And that's a 7-year low. Mm. I mean, what do you think that says?
I'm thinking about whether to say this.
Say it.
I think that it's fine. Like when we make little movies, cute, or like go make your little movie. Starts to get dangerous when women have their hands on a lot of money. You know what you're saying? You're saying is a tiny percentage.
Well, in her case, it was extremely dangerous because they gave her $90 million and then probably another half of that for marketing. And the movie's a bomb. It's going to lose an enormous amount of money. So literally in her case, very dangerous. But what I don't understand is, apparently from what Hollywood people tell us, this is the most racist, bigoted, misogynist place on earth. I mean, what could be more misogynist than this place? He's talking about how those men don't trust. It's dangerous when they get too much money, which it actually turns out it is because the movie's bomb. But they could do their little movies, It's like, well, why does Hollywood lecture anybody on anything then? If it's if this is actually the worst place, the most racist and misogynist place in the world, why are they lecturing anybody else?
Look at how many of those movies were movies that made an impact. Like if you've had...
I can't think of any.
Your mouth shut for so long, almost like a geyser, like having your hand on something. Well, when it bursts, it's going to come out really powerful.
What on earth is she talking about? I guess she's saying women have had their mouths shut for so long. Really? Really? Like, seems like they've been able to say whatever the hell they want at length for a very long time now. So when are they going to give up this? When are these champagne socialists like this going to just give it up and go, okay, yeah, we actually got it pretty good? When are they just going to admit that? Because the whole feminism thing is not really working for Hollywood right now. People aren't going. People don't want to see it. They don't like it. They don't want to be lectured to by her. Right? A Nepo baby from a Hollywood family, right? Who has not struggled and she's not had her mouth shut. She's not been suppressed and oppressed by the patriarchy. If this is oppression, okay, we need a new patriarchy. It's not doing its job. Can we please get a new patriarchy, please? A much better one. Ginger says, it always rankled me that this woman was ever chosen as the love interest in a Batman movie. Yes. The only reason that she was chosen as the love interest in a Batman movie is because of her name. Good Lord. Razor Fist says that you almost have to feel for them. Marxism was normalized in Hollywood over 100 years ago. They spend months on a film set surrounded by fellow travelers, that'd be communists. Off hours, it's all commie cocktail parties. They all go to the same schools, attend the same fundraisers, and rut with the same retards. Absent contact with a Walmart shopper for years at a stretch, they gradually lose the ability to weigh social exigency against the need to evangelize their vapid politics and keep their yap shut for the sake of social interaction. Then some journalist, lefty as they are, but also aware click sell, tease them up in their first promotional interview, and out pours the tanky diarrhea. Every time, it's a reflex. They just can't help themselves. Apparently the movie, which I have not seen, but everything I've heard about it, even the critics don't like it. Even the critics are saying it's too feminist. Apparently it is, it's unwatchable. It's so cringe. All right. What have we got now? We're almost at the last tab. I'm going to read this, then we'll get to the last tab. All right. Tristan Hopper posted this. There's a species of Canadian I keep encountering who will acknowledge the following. 1, yes, our institutions have been captured and gutted by extremists. 2, yes, we are committing evils unlike any in our history. 3, yes, our current course is unsustainable. But they only want to fix these problems in a way where nobody says anything mean, nobody gets their feelings hurt, and nobody ever publicly has to say what the problem is. The softness of this generation of Canadians is truly a sight to behold. I know these people, right? And say, what do they say? Weak men make bad times make good men make good times times make weak men. That's where we're in that cycle. We're in the wrong part of that cycle right now. Like so much of the news coverage about Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, is about just his tone. Just his tone. It's never about his policies, actually. It's just his tone. He's divisive. He's mean. And you can't have somebody mean fix things. You can't have an adult fix things. Everything has to be the Canadian public has to be treated like children, like anxious children, apparently. Every issue. All right. The whole country needs to be infantilized. All right. All right. We're at the last tab. Let's go back to the chat. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. G-Flood, how you doing? All right. Couldn't stay for too long. Let's see. JDL says, how you doing, JDL? Says, end tax exemption for colleges and universities. Well, I've been saying for a while that for colleges and universities at this point, they cannot be allowed. Well, the public cannot fund them to turn out a new generation of communist Red Guard every year. You can only do that for so long before you end up with, well, I guess you end up with what Canada is now. So all of this wokeness and this communism is going to have to be extracted root and branch, and it's going to take a long time. And the first place to start, I think, is to at least not fund the universities to pump out a new generation, a new red guard every year, with the express hope of destroying this country, burning it down to create to create North Korea on top of the ashes of what used to be a great wealthy country. So no public money should go to universities now. If they want to have critical this and if they want to have a bunch of woke, anti-Canada, anti-Western, anti-woke curricula, they should have to pay for it on their own dime. And I guarantee you that stuff's all going to start disappearing. If they lose the public funding, that stuff's going to start disappearing. They're going to have to cut back to just the core stuff. And then you have to have somehow legislate something where you can't just like if it's engineering, an engineering course, it has to be about engineering. It can't be about colonialism. There has to be something put in place to keep them in line, right? Yes, and tax exemptions, absolutely. But it should be public funding should be gone immediately. We can't fund them. We can't fund our own destruction, right? That's a terrible idea. Let's see. Spambot says, Maggie Gyllenhaal was awesome in The Secretary. Never saw it. Let's see. Ray of Ram, how you doing? Good to see you. Says, dropping a B as requested. Thank you very much, because I need a certain amount. Thank you for remembering. I need a certain amount of unique chatters in Rumble for the Rumble Creator Program. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Yeah, anybody who is just lurking, but you're not watching on TV, but you're watching on your phone or something, just go in the chat and just say hi or a B or something. Help me get up to that number of unique chatters that I need. That really helps me out. Thank you. Just lurking. Thanks for all the news. Cubby gets nothing. Cubby gets nothing. All right. I forget to do that too often. I need to get back to doing that all the time. Let's see. Rosie says, is her necklace a Canadian flag in gold? I don't know. No noodles tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe on Sunday noodles. All right. Well, let's get to the last stuff, people. First thing I want to deal with is, hold on. Yeah, first thing I want to deal with is this. And one of you guys sent this in. Where is it? Here we go. So we've got a video from Joey Jones here. Johnny Joey Jones here. And he's talking about, well, okay. So we've got this video here, but before I show you this video, I want to show you this. So, of course, everything the Trump administration does is evil, according to the mainstream media, or anybody in the administration is evil, and everything they do is terrible. Let me show this article from Newsweek here. Pete Hegseth spent millions on steak, crab legs, and lobster. What just happened? What just happened? Why did that happen? Okay. Pete Hegseth spent millions on steak, crab legs, and lobster, according to a report. Well, that sounds bad. I mean, how could he even, how long did it take him to eat millions of dollars worth of steak and crab legs and lobster? Or did he have a big party? You see the framing, it's always in the framing, right? Now, this video is going to give us a perspective on what that was all about, that they're not going to give you in this article. But first, let's go to the article here. So, let's see why it matters. As Secretary of Defense, Hegseth has publicly emphasized refocusing the department on core defense priorities and military readiness. But the data from Open the Books reveals that the Pentagon's end-of-year spending reflected something quite different. According to analysis, the Defense Department spent $2 million on Alaskan king crab and $6.9 million on lobster tail in September 2025 alone. The same month also saw $15.1 million spent on ribeye steak, alongside purchases of salmon and other foods. Now, I wonder where that food might have gone to. Let's watch this.
In 2010 in Afghanistan, I was working with two other Marine EOD techs, Brian Smith and Chindo Mesa. We had been out all day long working some IEDs. It was a difficult day. We had a few really close calls that day. When we got back, we sat down, and I've got this picture of us just sitting on a ledge at Patrol Base Karma, and there's a stack of MREs behind us. And I remember Mesa looking at me and saying, man, I hope I don't get that chicken tetrazzini or something like that. And then somebody comes around the corner like, hey guys, it's steak and lobster night. It's surf and turf. A log train had come in, which was insane because the route was littered with IEDs. And now I've got another picture of the three of us eating steak in the room that we lived in later that night. What's funny is the look on our faces from the one picture to the other is about the same because we're in war. But after that day, for weeks, we talked about steak and lobster nights. The only one I've ever gotten overseas. It was in the middle of a really tough summer. Brian got blown up a few weeks later. He's not with us anymore. He died of stomach cancer last year. Then I got blown up a couple of months later. And you see these tweets. You see these tweets about, Pete Hegseth has spent $15 million on steak and lobster. Are you serious? That is the only thing about home. That's the only thing that makes you feel special for the entire time you're there watching your buddies die and you're mad about that. The fact that people aren't smart enough to even look up what that's for before they criticize it. And I guarantee you none of them said a word when Biden surrendered Afghanistan, killed 13 of us, or when the whole DOD spent tens of millions of dollars on going woke. Come on.
So it just shows you the media all the time is just, they're single-minded. They are single-minded in their task, right? Which is to manipulate the public. And also, too, I mean, it doesn't say anything about okay, so you've got millions of dollars worth of frozen steak and crab legs and lobster. How long is that going to last for? There's a lot of soldiers to be fed. It's expensive to feed them, right? But it gives you a different perspective than Newsweek wants to give you. Of course, they would never talk to somebody like that in the first place because, again, it wouldn't benefit them. All right. Let's get to the rest of this stuff. JDL says, did you see the gay maps of Czechoslovakia story? I'm offended I'm part Czechoslovakia. I have not seen it. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. All right. All right, let's get, so what is this? This is, one of you guys sent this in. Let's watch this. Dead End King posted this. This is next level petty, I promise. Let's take a look. So this is a divorce lawyer here. He's talking about one particular case.
What's the dumbest hill anybody's died on in a divorce proceeding?
So many. So many hills.
Aside from the toaster.
There's a chapter in my book called The Case of the Incredible Shrinking Penis. And it tells the story of the dumbest hill I've ever seen somebody die on. And that is that a guy married my client on false pretenses. He wanted a green card. And they got married. And he literally, right after the marriage ceremony, left and never came back. And my client came to me very upset and said, I want this marriage annulled. And this was really important to my client. we had him served and we said, we want an annulment. And he said, I won't give you an annulment. I'll give you a divorce, because that way he could keep the citizenship. And we said, no, we want an annulment. And the reason he didn't want to give her an annulment is they could affect his citizenship status. So we ended up having an annulment trial. And he claimed that they had consummated the marriage, meaning that they had had sexual intercourse. Now, my client was like a 37-year-old woman. So, like, how do you prove somebody didn't have sex with somebody?
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to her about, look, maybe you want to just take the divorce, because like, it's going to be really hard to prove you didn't have sex. It's his word against yours. And I said, she was like, well, I'm a virgin. And I was like, well, I mean, congratulations. Like, that's an accomplishment at 37. But, the chances of your hymen still being intact are like almost nothing. Like, because, as time passes, it gets weaker. And it's, any gynecologist can tell you that, like, just because a woman's got a broken hymen doesn't mean that they're not a virgin. And I said, but look, if it was intact, that would be conclusive proof that you never had sex with this person. So I said, why don't you go to your gynecologist and find out? So she went to see her gynecologist. A couple of days later, I walk into the office. My secretary says, Jane Doe is in conference room B and she's very upset. So I was like, all right, I know what this is. Like, I knew it was going to be. So I go in and I say, listen, it was a long shot. There was no way it was going to be intact. And she was crying. She was like, no, it's intact. She's like, I just came from the doctor. Like, my hymen is intact. Like, and I was like, oh, game on. Like, it's game on now. Like, I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah. I'm like, and she would testify to that? She's like, yeah. She even like took pictures. Like, I was like, oh, it's on now. So we took the case to trial and we didn't let the guy know. And I had him get on the witness stand, and on cross-examination, I said, you testified earlier that you had sexual intercourse with my client. He said, yes, I did. I said, and when you say you had sexual intercourse, you mean you put your penis into her vagina? And the judge is like, Mr. Sexton, I think we all understand that that's what sexual intercourse is. I was like, Your Honor, if I could just have a little leeway, I'd appreciate it. So I'll give you a little, Mr. Sexton, but this is going to stay PG. This isn't going to get X-rated. I walked through and I said, and did you have any problems when you had sex? He said, no, we had no problems. I said, now, sir, I apologize for asking you this. How big is your penis? And objection. I said, Your Honor, I asked for a little leeway here. This will be relevant, I assure you. She said, all right. And he said, it's average size. I said, respectfully, there could be some debate about what it means to be average size. I said, so how many inches approximately is it? He said, well, 5 or 6 inches. I said, 5 or 6 inches when erect? He said, yes, 5 or 6 inches. I said, very good, thank you. I said, I have nothing further. Then I called her gynecologist to the stand. And I basically said, would it be physically possible for a 5 or 6 inch penis to have penetrated my client's vagina? I said, absolutely not. The only way a person could have had sexual intercourse with her is if they had a microphallus, meaning a penis less than 1 inch long. And, anything more than that, and they would not have been able to do it. So the guy went back on the stand and said, I exaggerated the size of my penis. It's actually much smaller than that. And I said, is it your testimony that your penis is smaller than 1 inch when erect? And the judge said, all right, that's it. I want to see counsel in chambers, and brought us both in chambers and said to opposing counsel, like, your guy's going to grant her the annulment, or I'm going to hold him in contempt of court. I'm going to charge him with perjury. He's going to end up in jail. And so he ended up giving her the annulment.
So don't blame me. What do you guys said that?
That's the dumbest.
Don't blame me. Happiness to the dog's face after his big jump. This is a palate cleanser right here. Look at, oh,
you're so clever. You're so clever.
Oh, the dog was very happy with himself. It's surprisingly graceful leap there, wasn't it? Surprisingly graceful. How about this? Baby capybara practicing stealth in water. I can't play the music on this one, but as you can see, that's a palate cleanser right there. They're nice creatures. I wonder if they're nice pets. They probably taste really good too. Let's see. This is how we raise our youngins in the South. We'll save this for Monday because that's got music. Let's see. We already saw that. Let's see. Okay. So these guys here made a video making fun of Indian street vendors. So we'll watch this one first. And then I've got a video of an actual Indian street vendor. Let's see if it's accurate.
तुम पूरी तरह से सक्षम हो, तुम्हारे मोजे हमेशा गीले रहे। जैसे महकते हो, तुम्हारा दिमाग आलू के प्रोसेसर जैसा है। आशा करता हूँ कि तुम हमेशा लोगों पर पैर रखो। तुम्हारी पैकेज जैसे गीली चिल्ली जैसी है। तुम्हारा वाईफाई सिग्नल तुम्हारी बहस जितना कमजोर है। तुम सुनहरी मछली से भी हार जाओगे ढूंढने की प्रतियोगिता में। तुम्हारे हाथ मिलाने की शैली सुस्त न्यूनतम जैसी होती है। तुम्हारे पास एक टूटा हुआ गुब्बारे जैसी ऊर्जा है। तुम्हारी तालमेल एक रोलर स्केट पहने बच्चे जिराफ जैसी है। तुम ऐसे दौड़ते हो जैसे कोई पेंगुइन जिससे अभी याद आया है कि ऑफिस जाना है। तुम्हारा डांस ऐसे लगता है जैसे भूकंप में हिलती हुई कुर्सी। तुम्हारे समस्या हल करने की क्षमता एक चम्मच जैसी है। तुम्हारी उपस्थिति एक गुनगुने सोडा जैसी है। तुम्हारी दिशा संवेदना एक तूफान में उड़ते हुए कागज के नक्शे जैसी है। तुम्हारी प्रतिक्रिया दादी की एक उंगली से टाइप करने जितनी धीमी है।
Pretty good, but it's not totally realistic. Let's go to an actual street. Oh, God. Let's see. Indian street food vendor cutting meat with his toenails. Oh, boy. All right, let's watch this. Well, he's actually got a knife in between his toenails there, but the meat's going right up against his toenails and his feet and his toes, and just people say that I've always dreamed of going to India. I haven't. I think I've had nightmares of going to India, but never dreams. Just nightmares. Just nightmares. Because of this. I don't really need to see a river full of garbage, right? I don't need that view. I don't want to eat that. Dave Pam, how you doing, Dave Pam? Says yummy and so hygienic. Yeah, right. Rosie says, Richie, that is disgusting. None of the toenail meat for the Iron Lady. Let's see. Spambot says, my toenails cut my socks. But do you cut like chicken or pork with pork cutlets with your toenails? Sounds like you could. Radio Streamer says, you know those feet have been in some poos. The thing is, you do know that. You do know that. Streamer says, nothing on earth wants to eat them. Talking about capybaras. They can stand next to alligators and not get eaten. I doubt they taste good. Maybe they're gross. Maybe they're gross. I've never eaten one, so I don't know. Let's see. Streamer says, I can get food poisoning right here in the good old USA. American-made bacteria. Well, apparently they've got the best bacteria in India. I mean, the best bacteria for giving you diarrhea and making you throw up for 2 weeks straight. Let's see. Rosie says, I think I got food poisoning just watching. Yes, I can also smell it from the screen. Ugh. Let's see. Says here, God is everywhere all the time. This is a perfect example. So what's happening here? A panicked woman gets out of her car. Comes a cop. Cruiser passes by. He's going to see what's going on. He's like, what's this crazy bitch doing? What's she up to? Officer decides to investigate. He's thinking, I hope she's not a libtard. When he approaches the woman, let's see, approaches her, he realizes that she's joking. This is why you don't eat chicken wings while you're driving. He performs the Heimlich maneuver. Saving the woman's life. And that's why it will never be seen on like TV news. That's why. Let's see. The best way to escape an online meeting. Well, let's check this out.
Suggestions about moving paragraphs around even.
So he's like, what the hell's going on? She's just laughing.
Did you guys just see Tyler get kidnapped? Do we need to call the police?
Well, obviously it's staged. Obviously that's a prank, but maybe she was in it because she was laughing. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Dame Pam says all that curry protects their immunity. Well, maybe. I guess just growing up around in such a disgusting environment, it gave you a strong immune system. Radio Streamer says fecal matter is the secret sauce in that video. Izzy says that lady the cops saved probably sued for broken ribs. Probably. No good deed, right? This little girl was complaining that something was pulling her hair, so her dad investigated and found this. Well, let's take a look.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take her down.
There's a squirrel in her hair.
My cats were trying to eat it, and I went out there to grab it, and when I did, it climbed all the way on my back and dug into my hair.
It's definitely in there. All right, that's a chipmunk.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah.
My God!
You're okay, little fella. You're all right.
Yo, what the
What?
Let me look at it. No, bring it to me!
That's not, because my nose is running. Oh my God.
I choose to believe this. Let's see if there's anything underneath. Let's see. A little bird picks a spot to make a nest. Oh, interesting. It's small. No, it was a chipmunk. Let's see. It was that chipmunk right there. That better be AI or I'm going to lose my mind. Well, let's take a look. Sorry, it's from early 2023. Hope you find your mind again soon. Yeah, I thought it was real. Let's judge that. How does Riker rate this? Let's see.
You're right. It's fact.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks, Riker. Let's see. That we got to save for Monday. This one we save for Sunday. The world needs to see the most insane Halloween costume ever. One of you guys sent this in. It's actually pretty good.
It's perfect. All right, now we're gonna add the legs. Just perfect. Oh yeah. Got the toilet paper holder. Oh. All right, we got toilet paper. Perfect. Great. Toilet seat. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's get in.
Get your leg in, just like that. I'm like,
All right. Getting in. Perfect. Oh, yeah. This is going to be so... That is so awesome. All right, let's finish it. Put the finishing touches. It's going to look good. Time for the door. All right, we got the door all painted. It's going to open and close. That is going to be perfect. Zip tie. All right, put some finishing touches. That's great. All right, let me see. One. Take the other one off. Guy. Oh, amazing. Boom, boom. That's amazing. It looks like a real porta potty. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. It looks like he's carrying the porta potty. That is absolutely unbelievable. All right, I need to see the inside. All right, let me see. I need to see. No. Can I actually see the inside? All right. Oh my goodness. Is there anything inside? Let's see. Oh.
Dude, don't look at me. It's occupied. Close the door. Get away. Get away.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. I wouldn't say it's the best costume I've ever seen, but I'd say it's a solid number 2. You're just reading your newspaper and handling business.
Yep. Okay, I need some privacy.
Paul, do you know the difference between toilet paper and wallpaper?
No.
That's gross.
What?
That was pretty good. That's very inventive. Like that one. That was a spam bot special, I think. Let's see. What do we got here? So here's for Rosie. We missed it last time. She left early. Let's take a look. That actually looks like disgustingly good. Like just grossly good. Let's see what happened here. U.S. Customs searched a record number of Canadian devices last year, including smartwatches, phones, flash drives, and more. Better get those naughty pictures off your phone before you travel. So, yeah, that's something to be concerned about. This guy explains the Vietnam war traps. Well, let's take a look here.
I think you've already seen, so you don't have to explain it anymore. Pitfall trap, you fall into the pit, spikes underneath the pit, and then you get it. Okay. First trap, second trap, you got a seesaw trap. You know how a seesaw works, right? Swing on this side, the other side goes up. So you falls down. The spike will goes back and hit your head when you try to stand up. Standing. One and down. It's a fish trap. So this fish trap came from the idea of the actual fish trap. You see the river flows. And when the fish follow the river, goes into the box. And the fish, when in the box, cannot escape the box because they are too big to fit through the gaps here. So fish trap, same apply, but opposite side. So you swim in the river. You swim in a flooded area. You have your leg fell down. And when your legs fell down, you stab the spike here. And when you try to pull your leg out, that's what happens. Okay. The next one is the armpit trap. Armpit trap, you fall right into the middle. If your hands like momentum like this will go straight into your armpits. Not a good idea. This one here is go for your chest. Oh, relax. Go for your back. If you fall this way.
Okay, well, it's 4 minutes of horrifying ways to die and to be injured. So I don't think we need the whole thing. I think we get the point. Horrible. All right. Let's see. How about Joe Rogan here? Let's see. You can never be woke enough because it's all horseshit. Well, I tend to agree with that.
You can never be woke enough because it's all horseshit. It's all horseshit. It's just a cult. It's a cult that is mostly perpetrated by people that don't have a religion. So it behaves like a religion.
Yeah.
You can get excommunicated. You can get cast out of the kingdom for life. There's rules. If you follow those rules, you'll be good. If you're not, you're a heretic.
Yeah.
It's a religion. And it's a religion for people that don't have a religion, because there's a fucking weird part of our brain that whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, it fits that spot.
Right.
So there's if you don't have something in your life that you think of as a higher power, or at least have like some sort of ethical and moral foundation and some goal, some higher goal that you ascribe to, something will fill that spot. There's a spot in your brain, and that spot will be I'm a Republican, or that spot will be I'm a liberal. And we got these goddamn racists and all these white people. We got to get rid of white people. White people say that. We got to deal with the real problem is white people. They'll say that, and they'll say they pat themselves on the back while they're saying it because they think they're being a good wokester.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. It's just religion.
Well, Joe Rogan is saying that it's all it's all bull. I wonder. Let's test it. Hold on. Let's go here. Let's try and come up with some stuff. I'm going to go decolonizing dentistry and see if anything comes up. Let's see. AI overview. Decolonizing dentistry, dismantling Eurocentric colonial and white hegemony structures within dental education, research, and clinical practice. It requires incorporating indigenous knowledge into dentistry, modern dentistry. I don't think that there were indigenous dentists. I don't think you went to the indigenous dentist's office and got the indigenous, the indigenous root canal. I'm pretty sure like modern dentistry is something that you can't really dismantle it. Otherwise you're going to have a mouthful of rotting teeth. Like you didn't go to the indigenous dentist's office, dental practice, right? And have the indigenous anesthetic. And they got the indigenous drill out, right? So National Institutes of Health, decolonizing dental educational research. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this sounds like nonsense to me. What else have we got? Decolonize. What else can we decolonize? Let's see. I mean, what's the most ridiculous thing that you could decolonize? Let's see. How about decolonizing? Hold on. How about decolonizing English literature? Because that makes no sense, right? Decolonizing English literature is a process of dismantling Eurocentric colonial and imperialist biases within academic curricula. So obviously, decolonizing English literature makes no sense. This is just total gibberish. How would you decolonize the thing that's... it doesn't make any sense. Decolonize child daycare. Decolonizing daycare. Decolonizing childcare in Colwood. How does this make any sense? I don't know. Decolonizing. How about decolonizing? Hold on. Decolonizing. Decolonizing. I don't know. Spoons. Let's see if there's something for that. Decolonizing spoons involves reclaiming indigenous culinary tools. Oh, God. Specifically through traditional... See, it's all just nonsense. None of this makes any sense. None of this makes any sense whatsoever, right? Decolonizing spoons and dentistry. Well, I don't know.
You can never be woken.
You can never be woke enough, apparently. Never be woke enough. Well, I think that's it until Sunday now. I think we'll leave it till Sunday. We're almost 3 hours in. And I'm getting tired. I am getting tired. I'm getting fatigued. Let's finish up the chat. We'll get out of here. And I'll let you guys go and start enjoying your weekends. Let's see. Rosie says that her soon-to-be daughter-in-law got a bird stuck in her hair. She is still terrified of birds. Well, that might do it. You know, remember when I was like 20 or something? I was walking down the street and all of a sudden I felt something. I was wearing a hat actually, and I felt something like bash the top of my head. And I looked and it was a crow had come down and swooped down from a tree and attacked me because, like I said, got too close to its nest. And I'm not afraid of crows, but I still, every time now that I'm walking and I hear the crow go and cawing nearby, and I look and see where it is, and I keep my eye on that crow because I know that it wants to dive bomb me, and not on my watch. Let's see. Looks like a sugar bun. You're talking about that bun thing? Yeah. Yeah, it does look very good, though, but you'd feel awful after eating it. Rambot says, will you ever play the Hitchens clip? Well, we can play it now, I guess. Let's see. I was going to save it because I don't have much more energy to really comment on anything, but we can just play it. All right. So this is what, from 30 years ago? This is probably, at least 25 years ago, I would say. Let's take a look.
In 1788, when the United States was barely a country.
Actually, this was politically incorrect, so this is probably going back like 30 years. Let's take a look.
Right. It was having its sailors taken as slaves by the Barbary states, the states of the Ottoman Empire in North Africa. Tripoli.
The shores of Tripoli.
Ships stopped. Its crews carried off into slavery. We estimate 1.5 million European and American slaves taken between 1750 and 1815. Jefferson and Adams went to their ambassador in London and said, why do you do this to us? The United States has never had a quarrel with the Muslim world of any kind. We weren't in the Crusades. We weren't in the war in Spain. Why do you do this to our people and our ships? Why do you plunder and enslave our people? And the ambassador said very plainly, Mr. Abdul Rahman said, because the Quran gives us permission to do so, because you are infidels. And that's our answer. And Jefferson said, well, in that case, I will send a navy which will crush your state, which he did. Islamic fundamentalism is not created by American democracy. It's a lie to say so. It's a masochistic lie. And it excuses those who are the real criminals, and it blames us for the attacks made upon us.
You know, he was so far ahead of his time. And the thing is, back then, he could actually get on a show like Politically Incorrect and say that. You know, I mean, I guess on Real Time with Bill, I guess he still could on Bill Maher show, but that's probably the only place that he could just accurately describe reality in that way. Long time ago, he warned us. Nobody listened, and they're still not listening. Let's see. Spambot says 2 books are mandatory reading: How to Be Dentally Self-Sufficient and Money by the Mouthful. Sounds to me like Spambot's trying to decolonize dentistry. He says in caps, that means he's serious about this. Go find those books. Tomorrow. I'll be on it tomorrow. Let's see. Spambot says, hint, flossing daily is mandatory. Brushing is not. Well, I floss every day. Let's see. Izzy says, sounds like a bunch of commie BS to me. Commie BS. Radio Streamer says, so dentistry is on my list as being racist. Now, yes, dentistry is racist. Never forget. Never forget. Must be decolonized immediately. Everybody must have a mouthful of rotting teeth. Let's see. According to the leftists, Dame Pam, where would we be now if it weren't for all the so-called indigenous that came from other parts of the world before they arrived, according to DNA? Well, this is the thing, right? Like, world history is so messy. Like, it's so messy, and yeah, the gene pool is super mixed up. Like, you know, North American indigenous is is Asian, is traced back to Asians who, anyway, I'm getting tired now, so I can't think very straight anymore. But yeah, it's all just a big mishmash. Let's see. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, decolonize white supremacy. Let's look that up. Let's look that up and see if somebody's written something about it. Because literally, I mean, they've decolonized spoons, dentistry. I mean, what have they not decolonized? Decolonizing white supremacy. So let's take a look. Well, there's not an AI thing that came up, so I guess they haven't done that yet, right? Because once they decolonize something, it's good. So I guess they don't want to do that. Let's see. Government BC, Introduction to Unlearning and Undoing White Supremacy. Yes, the huge problem of white supremacy in Canada. It's like the government is trying to convince us that there's this massive problem. Like, are they trying to make people white supremacy? Like, I don't understand. The government of BC. Yeah, it's a commie government. Let's see. The Unlearning and Undoing White Supremacy Project began a 2-year initiative that has transitioned to ongoing efforts to embed Indigenous rights, truth, and reconciliation across. Yeah, and it's ended up with everybody's land title being given away to Vancouver, third largest city in the country. That's gone great. Maybe we need to stop with all this stuff before the whole country implodes. Why did this stop? There we go. Let's see. We got notables from Chile. Good to see you. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, decolonize Diagolon. Let's see. JDL says they're in tornado season. Now be careful. You don't want to end up in Oz. Let's see. Let's see. All right. JDL makes such a good point here. Hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like button. Dame Pam asks, will U.S. diners soon be offering sunken ships in the Strait of Hummus? Maybe. That's actually a good idea. Let's see. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm just going to skip to the end here, and then we're going to get out of here because I'm wiped out. Radio Streamer says, can you imagine the hard-on the Canadian government or the CBC would have over talking to and fighting all 12 of the actual white supremacists in Canada? Well, this is the thing. They never actually show us. That way they don't have to prove anything, right? Like, they just assure us it's there. It's this massive problem. Let's see. All right. All right, that's it, everybody. I'm wiped out. It's over. It's over. We'll be back on Sunday. 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you so much for showing up, and especially for those gifted memberships. That is so awesome. Thank you guys. It really does help out the channel an enormous amount. And yeah, everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for showing up. I'll be back on Sunday. Hope to see you guys then. Have a great weekend, everybody.